Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
So if Jamie, Thiago and Westgate had a fight, who do you think would win? The Japanese or the new Brazilians? I've always been a big fan of girl skateboarding, filming videos back then. It was just like, you got a block of 45 minutes to film a whole video for a major brand or whatever, and that's it. Mongo grab. Borrow without the intention of ever giving it back. Ian Deacon is kind of the ringleader of Brighton. My mum let me go to America on a one-way ticket with not enough money to come back. So Steve Douglas, he's still angry because I got the first pro board ever from an American company, an English skateboarder. Shape's important on freestyle because you have to have it really lined up with the trucks. Lee Ralph's the best. He smells like horrible, but he's an amazing skateboarder. And there is a point, if you're gonna push Mongo or mob flip or whatever, then you should probably be kicked. They've invested millions of dollars into skateboarding and they haven't seen any return. They were losing 10 million a year. And Pierre always wanted to make sure that we made the best shoes. We got people from MIT to focusing on biomechanics. And I didn't have to do any of the chemo or anything because I got it early. It's just surgery, just cut it out. I think it's important for all of us to get tested because cancer wasn't a word in our family. Addictology, nothing to The funny thing with Bam is he loved the SXL, and then it cut the swoosh off of the Nikes. It glue them on the side of the SXL. The lengths that they had to try and get into skateboarding because they were so uncool. Maybe we're just at that point of how big skateboarding is that 80% of their customers don't really give a shit about who's behind the brand. For me, I'm Goofy Foot, the supreme stance of the universe. I haven't done a pogo for 20 years, probably. I was thinking about doing a whole series of the roll up to El Toro and then just flip the board up and pogo down El Toro, just to say that Don Brown did El Toro.
Good evening and welcome to another great episode of the Brain Drain Show with me, Forde, Brookfield. To my left is my one less tooth friend, Toby. Toby, how are your teeth?
Good, better. Much better than they were last week.
Toby, tell him your name.
Toby. We're still doing that.
We're still doing that.
We got to stop doing that at some point.
And joined to our left is an extremely special guest, came all the way from the States just for this episode.
Yeah.
That's what he told me yesterday anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Without any further ado,
Mr.
it's
Don Brown
in the studio. Please.
Thanks for coming all the way from California just for this.
It was crazy, yeah. And I had multiple layovers because it wasn't just a direct flight. But it was important for me to be here just for you two.
Yeah, thanks.
Culturally relevant.
Very.
That's what we got told.
And cold.
The Skin Phillips show. What you guys are doing is culturally
Who said
relevant. I should know the name, so if they're listening, they're going to be like, it's not culturally relevant anymore because I forgot the name, but yeah.
Well, you've blown that.
Yeah, it was good.
How was the contest this weekend? Where was it? Was it Ramp 1? Warrington?
Ramp 1 in Warrington, yeah.
It was good.
How was Warrington?
Beautiful.
California to Warrington.
I might move.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's nice beachfront spot right there. It's got sandy beaches. I saw that.
Yeah, everywhere. The skate park's
Girls in bikinis.
Skate park's on the edge of the beach.
Wasn't A4 was in Warrington, wasn't it?
Actually, that's weird that I think they were.
It was Warrington, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about
Manchester,
that.
isn't
Yeah. Alan and Darren.
Nick Warman's here. That's who I'm looking at when I'm nodding. Because he's
Just ask him all the questions.
But Warrington does not feel like any part of Manchester.
Well, Manchester's really big, isn't it? So there's lots of you've got.
It's kind of look. It's perfectly between
Bury,
Liverpool and Manchester.
Bolton.
On the train up there were all these I don't know what was going on, if it was a football match or what, but I was sat in the carriage of the train near the toilet. I was like, this is like a quiet seat. And all these footy blokes came on and they were just all stood there in the carriages, all sniffing bags. And then one of them started fucking snotting out of his nose, and all the lads were like, oh, what's wrong with you? And he was like, oh, he's changed his bag, innit? He's changed his bag. And I was like, how sad are you got to be to know that your mate has got different cocaine because it's making your nose
We might have to remove that from monetization.
Yeah, that's going to be great for YouTube monetization in the first 5 minutes talking about
yeah,
bags.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Right. We can just blur it out, right?
Yeah, it'll be all right.
It's probably because Brighton just beat them 2-1. So they're pissed, they're angry, mad.
What, in the footy?
Yeah, in the footy.
And they've all left Brighton now, moved to Warrington.
Yeah.
Right, where can we make our lives more miserable? Warrington.
What was your takeaway from the comp player? I know we spoke.
I didn't get to spend the whole time there, but it was good. I haven't been to a contest in England forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember the last one I went to. I remember Farnborough, 81.
Fucking that's a bit. That's a long while ago.
You weren't even born, were you?
I was born then.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Damn.
I wasn't.
I know.
Despite my youthful appearance, I'm a lot older than I seem.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. It's just good to see England. I mean, obviously I've got English pride, so I wanted to see the next generation of kids come up, take over, fight these Japanese kids that are taking over the world right now.
They're insane though.
Yeah. I mean, we might lose in the skate contest against the Japanese, but we can probably fight them and win. That might be our only option right now, because those Japanese are the new Brazilians. But no, going back to
That's
the contest.
true, isn't it? Because for a long time, the Brazilians were like the ones.
Yeah.
Remember, like at Radlands, they turn up the Brazilians, and you'd be like, "Holy shit! These guys, they landed everything every single go. They'd be riding brands that you never heard of.
Yeah.
You didn't know their names, and they were so good.
Right, yeah, that was crazy.
Now it's the Japanese.
Yeah, now it's Japanese, but we're going to change that and we're going to make it the English. It's going to be like, did you see the English guy, Joe, whatever his name is? not Joe Hinton, but Joe. I'm just saying Joe.
Oh, right,
I'm picking on an English name, Joe.
Hinton.
It's very, it's very English now. I was just trying to find it. It's like, I can't pronounce half the Japanese names. But going back to the damn contest, that was what the question, right? It's like, it was good to be there and see it. I love.
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of seeing girls skateboarding.
Yeah.
And to see all the way back when I was skating in the early '80s or whatever, it was Sue Hazel.
Yeah.
Was like
Big up Sue.
the
Hazel.
one.
And
she was the only girl out of all these guys, and to see how skateboarding has progressed to where today in the US, I know for a fact that 1 in 3 skateboarders is a girl now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
So
crazy, isn't it?
it's all because of people like Sue Hazel that just kept it going, despite all odds, and just made the magic happen and kept pushing through.
Yeah, we need to get Sue on, don't we? I know there was a bit of discussion there, but it kind of...
I think she was poorly when we asked
she's
her.
been poorly, hasn't she?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be great to get her on.
So the girls was good. I love that, and then just seeing Joe and Alex and the crew just killing it was good, and Joshua was good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I like Josh, J-Man Josh.
Yeah.
I always make
he's
sure
good.
that when he does his runs, he's in a vest.
He was wearing a vest.
I was
Pretty
going-
impressive.
You were stylist.
Before he starts his run, you got to make it well quick. Up next is Alex DeCuna, but with Josh, I was like, up next is J-Man, 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 Josh, Joshman, Joshman, and I just kept repeating it fucking ages. And I thought, it's funny that he's got a sense of humour, because he'd just come up and be like, shut the fuck up, bruv. But he's
Do you enjoy doing the MCing?
Yeah. Well, I obviously like talking.
Yeah, fuck yeah, too, right?
Yeah, he does.
I do a lot of it. I told you, didn't I? In the competition, I was like, if you stick around after the competition, Don Brown's going to do a 1-hour freestyle demo in the middle of the park.
It's weird. I was stretching for at least 45 minutes to ready for that, but then you didn't call me up, so I just left. I was actually kind of angry.
Have you ever done a 1-hour long freestyle demo in your days of professional skateboarding?
Maybe.
Which we'll touch base
Maybe.
on more.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But it's more like a lot of times, it's more like a jam or whatever. You just go skate. So it's just kind of fun.
I would have loved to have been at a freestyle demo just to hear the difference in noise. Just like pogos on the tail, just hearing that.
Yeah, the closest thing I've come to witnessing freestyle was Rodney Mullen when he was at would it have been the A-Team tour at Wakefield? Did you go to that, Nick?
I didn't know.
And everyone was egging him on, come on, Rodders, all like this.
Rodders.
And he just put it down.
Oh,
he just
he's phenomenal.
straight in was just doing all the crowd pleasers, and everyone was like, "What?" Imagine a bunch of rowdy West Yorkshire people just "What?" losing their mind because Rodney's there just doing. And they're like, "Do this," and he's all the shit.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean he is something else, isn't he?
Yeah. It's just crazy because it's when he skate, he could skate forever and never even touch the ground. He was so other level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's even filming videos back then, it was just you got a block of 45 minutes to film a whole video for a major brand or whatever, and that's it. And then Don Hoffman and the video crew are off.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? But now, obviously, you just spend 2 years
2-3 years
falling off
the video
until you make it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the UK a couple of months ago, wasn't he?
Rodney.
And
Oh yeah, for the what was he doing? TED Talk.
he was doing a talk at a university, and
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
the story goes deeper than that. I messaged Toby. I woke up one morning and Hawk had followed me, and I was like, this has got to be wrong. So I messaged him and I was like, is this a mistake? And he was like, no. And he started talking about an Instagram post. Now, when we saw that Rodney was in the UK, I messaged him can you hook it up? And he was like, send me your number and I'll forward it to him. But he might also just be way too busy because it's fucking Rodney Mullen. And I could imagine he's the kind of guy to be like, I only need to be there for a day, so I'm going to go.
Right.
Then I'm going to leave. He probably doesn't want to stick around.
No, he's not going to hang out with us human beings.
Even for Brookfield, he's not going to hang out with.
Yeah, even me.
Yeah, Rodney he was on another level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just like hide away, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a PJ thing, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone's over here, he'd be over there. By
Don't
himself
bring up
doing his thing.
PJ's name in front of me. God,
Okay,
I love him.
PJ.
Oh,
Okay, I
he's-
won't do that.
I was
The
trying to
direct-
explain to my girlfriend at the weekend about PJ Ladd and how elusive and mysterious he was and still is. And it's really hard to put across, like, somebody who is so ridiculously good within their chosen field
Yeah.
to then be sort of pull away from the line. I guess it's similar to Penny, isn't it, during like the mid-90s and stuff. But
I don't want to go off this PJ discussion yet, because I don't get to talk about him that often. But he's in S shoes at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he back on S, or is he just being?
He just loves the shoes, so
Yeah.
we give him the shoes. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of it's pretty amazing to see all the guys that we've had on the S brand, and they've kind of gone through that whole cycle of the life cycle of skateboarding, and they come back to the brand. You know, it means a lot to us.
I remember seeing that Coliseum video, and obviously Storied have just put out that thing where it was like one of the first viral skate videos for a skate shop as well. And the rumor is that when they bought out the tape, the original tape had over 1 million copies sold, and they actually went on to selling over 1 million copies of that video for a shop video.
yeah,
But
I mean, it's mind-blowing, isn't it?
PJ's insane, and I go to Boston a couple of times a year, so I go to look at these spots that he's skated, and there's that one line. I think he does a front tail 270 and he curves round and goes down the stairs, and the filmer's filming it in his flip-flops. And like all that shit's massive.
Yeah.
And like when he's doing the kickflip shifties in downtown Boston, like those stairs are huge. He's best skateboarder one of the best skateboarders in my opinion is PJ.
An exceptional
Yeah, I
skateboarder.
agree.
Seems like a nice dude as well.
Yeah.
He
He's really
seems
cool.
he's quite quiet, isn't he?
Yeah,
But he's another one. Like when I was in Boston, I was like, "Are you still living here?" And then we got talking, and he was like, "Well, if you come to LA, I'll just meet you." And I was like, "Fucking, how's PJ Ladd saying they'll meet me if I go to LA?"
Yeah.
Get on a flight straight away.
It's insane, but yeah.
Let's go back and cover the early years, and freestyle, because I'm very interested in freestyle. What year did you first start skating, and how did you find?
1976. That's back when Stonehenge was like just being finalized, constructed, like an IKEA or whatever back then or whatever, but just nice clean stones. But yeah, it was 76. My brother found a skateboard, surf flyer, in the park. He said found. I don't know if he found it or he, like, I don't know where.
Definitely
but it
robbed
ended
it off
up at the
someone.
house either way. So we found it, but he never rode it. And then I just kind of took over on it, and then just would go up and down my road, Brunswick Road, and.
Was it like an instant thing with you when you saw skating that it kind of clicked?
It was weird because I'd never seen really any other skateboarding. It was early days still. So it was just something that was just, as a kid, you just bored out your head. You got 3 TV stations. You only got black and white TV because we couldn't afford the colour license. And then...
Did you have
Shit, I remember that. Colour TV license.
Did you have the TV where you used to put coins
how
in
old
it
I
as
am.
well? Did you ever have one of those?
No, that's in
Coin-op
Amsterdam, I think, that you're thinking about.
Yeah, they're
Putting money in machines.
coin operated TVs.
No,
Never had one of those.
no.
You definitely didn't. But you didn't grow up poor, did you? So
But yeah, so 76, up and down, but these, like, this is actually cool. Can I show it? Nice.
yeah, pick it
So
up.
this was
let's have a-
Mongo. I meant Mongo. Mongo. Mongo grab.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even fucking more grab. It's Mongo. I changed it right now.
Well, in the UK,
Mall
it's
grab.
now shopping centre grab.
Oh, okay, perfect.
It's a mall grab.
Shopping centre grab.
So that's actually exactly the same board
This
you
is
had.
the board that I had, yeah. But, well, it's the same brand. It's made in Great Britain.
Yeah.
And this, I actually feel that this was actually one of the biggest skateboard companies maybe ever, because it was one of the first to market, and they sold them all throughout the UK and then internationally. And then there's actually similar ones to this. They're actually in Australia, in different ones. But it's pretty amazing. They just got the little rubber pushing things, open ball bearings. And then, but I rode this until, so it's kind of weird saying that until the wheels fell off, but they really did fall off because all the bearings fell out as well. Just be like, it's not a funny one. But then my sister got a skateboard, and then I took over on that, used that. And then my other sister got a skateboard, I used that. And I actually realized that later, just recently, that I think I've gone through 40 years of skateboarding and I've only ever bought like maybe 5 skateboards ever, because I borrowed everything.
Not as good as Andy Scott, who apparently only ever bought one board.
Really?
You bought one board and was sponsored that early on.
That's what I heard.
It's probably because he was stealing them.
Probably. There might have been an element of theft in there.
Yeah.
That's not for us to say, but I mean, that's pretty good going, 5 boards.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things that, I just kind of did that. And then the next one with more the plastic boards. And then they started going to the precision bearings, where instead of the open bearings, it was like the sealed bearings.
Yeah.
That was a Coyote. And then what was next? And then there was an MD Pro that these were all my sisters and stuff boards, but then they had an MD Pro, which is like a board from Brighton. Rode that for a while. And then I took a little break probably in 80, because it's just skateboarding crashed.
Yeah.
There was always that 10-year cycle of skateboarding booming and then crashing, and then it crashed then. And then I think I got a bike or whatever. I was riding a bike for a little bit. And then in like 81, I think, I saw a friend at like a local little restaurant that had like a asteroids machine. Remember asteroids?
Yeah.
And we would all go there and play, because it was early days of video games. And he had a Steve Calera snub nose board with the cubic 3s and 6 tracks and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like so weird, because it was so wide and so different from anything that I'd ever seen before. So I asked him if I could take it for a ride, and then ended up going out for like an hour, just vanished with his skateboard.
Yeah.
I didn't steal it. I didn't borrow it forever, but I did end up giving it back. But on that journey, I went down the beach and I saw a skateboarder freestyling on the beach. And I'm like, I didn't know who he was, but he was doing all this crazy shit, all these 360s and kickflips, like old school kickflips and nose wheelies and G-turns and all this shit. And it was just kind of mesmerizing, where it's just like, holy shit, I'd never seen this.
Yeah.
Within this kind of weird period of time that I'd kind of stopped for a little bit. And then I found out later on that was Steve Kellner, who was one of the best skateboarders in England at the time. Steve and Brian Kellner were from South Africa, and they were just the best at everything they did, whether it was skateboarding, surfing, music, whatever. But yeah, so I gave the skateboard back, and then I went and got a board. I was with my friend Mark, and we ended up both getting skateboards. We went down to West Pier down in Brighton, which we were just cruising around, and that's where I met Ian Deacon and Neil Hackett, who were both like 6'4", 6'5" or something, just tall.
Deacon still 6'4".
Yeah, they were huge. So it was weird, because my friend was like a little midget almost. He was like 5'2" or something. So it was just weird seeing these giants. And then, but they had just a piece of plywood up against there used to be a paddling pool right by the West Pier, and it just had a piece of plywood, and they were just skating that. And then we just started skating with them, made friends, and then kind of just made friends, with lifetime friends, best friends. So that's what, again, the beauty of skateboarding is just how long-lasting your friendship is. So when you meet someone, they're friends for life in skateboarding.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, but that's kind of so that within the Brighton scene, just kind of hung out there. There's the Level skate park. I don't know if you ever skated it back in the 80s, but it was pretty shit.
Like the wooden?
No, that was before
that.
the wood. It was all concrete. So it had like a little concrete bowl, a little snake run thing with but everything was, all the concrete was all lumpy and horrible. All the stones were exposed under the concrete. So it was like worst park ever.
They didn't know how to make them back then.
No, they had a little U-pipe versus half-pipe. And okay, searching for the skate park, so I'm going to find it. It's like a...
Well, what year would it have been?
National History
82?
Museum. It'd be in the late 70s. But
so around that time, was Stevenage, that was built in 78, I think. I think that was like that boom. There was quite a lot of concrete parks that popped up. Romford, Harrow, Nebworth, all of them sort of around that time.
But it's funny, if you looked at the park and you'd see the design, the actual layout of what it was really beautiful.
It was great,
But it was just the way they built it was terrible. It was just all overhang and lumps and bumps and everything everywhere.
Well, it would have been council build around that time, or it wouldn't have been a skate park builder surely at that time. So maybe they didn't know exactly.
Probably just workmen bought in. It was like, can you make this? And
probably right.
They've got kind of experience with the finish and stuff.
Yeah, and there was one section there, one had snake run. It had a little bank at the bottom, but it was overhang, but it was rounded at the top. But I could almost imagine the builders going, "Oh, it's skateboarding. It's like surfing. So let's make it like a wave and have it like curling over at the top." There's a local called John Mitchell that skateboarding in '81 was dead. There was probably like no more than probably 8 to 10 people in the whole of Brighton that would skate.
Yeah.
I'd almost question if there was more than 60 people in the whole UK that skateboarded.
Mm-hmm.
There was one skate shop called Alpine Sports that had skateboards, and
Where was that?
Where was it?
Yeah.
It was on Western Road, but it was one of those things where this guy Simon Worley, one of the skate crew, used to work there or whatever, but everyone would go in and everyone would kind of borrow without the intention of ever giving it back, without anyone seeing it.
Yeah.
And then this shop ended up just giving up because they weren't making any money because everyone was stealing everything.
Skateboarding's not changed.
No.
That's all, has it?
No. So it was. So then we had to go to London to buy skateboards to go to Slam City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then there was Surrey Skates. That
Because
had
when did Slam open? That was early 80s, wasn't it?
Was it M-Zone?
Slam?
M-Zone was around
86
then,
was Slam City.
Yeah.
M-Zone skate shop.
M-Zone was a little later.
Was it?
Yeah, that was probably later 80s.
Yeah.
So travelling from Brighton to London to buy a skateboard and then
Yeah.
going back to Brighton
Yep.
to skate by the pier.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you think that 81 was when Thrasher came out. So that was a time when we wanted to go get Thrasher magazine, but it was really inconsistent if you get to see it or not. And then that was also the time when the only way of seeing what else is going on around the world was in a magazine that was really inconsistent or really late to get to the UK.
Yeah.
So you're talking about probably 3 to 6 months, you know, between when a trick was done and when you actually got to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. So that's where it's like crazy today, where it's just instant on our phones.
Yes.
And back then.
It's kind of too much now. That's what we talk
It's
about.
like
It's like there's so much every day that
Like
you get lost in it.
the Thrasher.
Like look at
the Halloween hell bomb thing.
Yeah.
It was like it happened the weekend on the Monday. The edit's out.
Yeah.
It's like
Like look at all the hype with like the intervals video, the New Balance video that came out.
Have you watched it?
I've watched it and it was like by the time I watched it, I forgot it. I was like, I'm not going to watch it again.
Fucking hell. You
Foy's
mad?
part was
You
good.
like it? Yeah.
But you know what though? Like soundtrack fucking whack. Like Foy's soundtrack was so gimmicky. It just made his part really boring, made it feel really slow. Brendan Westgate had the best part.
They're all three parts were top shelf.
Oh, they're incredible.
Skateboarding
But
is
when it
unreal.
comes down to like the filming and the editing of it, I think it can kill it so easy.
So if Jamie, Thiago, and Westgate had a fight, who do you think would win?
I think
Jamie Foy's going to win every time, right?
I think he
Or
would.
maybe
I don't know.
But
I think-
Brandon's
I think-
probably pretty quick on his feet, isn't he?
I think if you're skating that quick like Brendan Westgate, you've got to be a little bit fucking tapped.
But then Thiago might have some real
you know-
gnarly martial arts.
Yeah, I
skills,
think he's got
isn't
some.
But you know what made me laugh about
Grace.
that
he? I reckon
video?
Thiago could jump over you. If you ran
Jiu-jitsu.
towards him, just jump over you.
Going backwards.
Yeah,
I think,
probably.
I
You know-
think Jamie would be tapping out. Like,
You know what made me laugh about that video? Like at the start, Thiago's like talking. After Westgate's part, Thiago's back there talking. After his part, there's like a Thiago talking. And then at the end of Foy's part, Thiago's got a minute epilogue of just like... And me and Ed was watching it downstairs and we were like, who's letting this man talk so much on camera? Just start the
I
video.
don't care what you say. The video was unreal. And like,
No, the video was unreal. It was just a little bit too over-polished and the soundtrack was a bit shit.
I know Jamie Foy. When did Jamie Foy get Skater of the Year? 2017.
He's going to get it this year as
If
well.
he doesn't get
Yeah.
it, it will be Thiago.
Yeah.
It's very close there, and you
should
can
be
see
fun.
it.
I
You
think
can
Jamie needs to get it.
Yeah.
Should we put money on it?
I bet you know, don't you? I bet there's this high.
Well,
I
yeah.
bet you know.
It's like
within the
yeah.
freestyle conspiracy, you all know, don't you?
Yeah,
You know who's
I mean,
gonna be
we
Skater
worked
of the
it
Year
out
2
like,
years from now.
like 10 years ago. We worked it out.
Because
Yeah.
they
Who's going to
decide,
win
they
it this year?
decide
24.
the freestyle conspiracy.
They all sit around a
decide
big-
the skateboarding.
A big mahogany table with their robes on.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
Illuminati.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the 80s. So, and the guy you saw doing freestyle, was that what cemented freestyle?
It wasn't. I mean, I think it's like it's a weird thing that I have these things that have happened through my life that are just you look back on and you go, I can look back later on and go, it's weird that I ended up getting into freestyle, and was that some kind of a catalyst to make that happen subconsciously without me really thinking about it? And it almost makes you think about destiny. Because a lot of my life, like I didn't do well at school. Like I was kind of just skateboarding was my escape to get out the house and away from everyone watching TV and smoking and cigarettes and whatever. And it's just I need to get away from that, and it was my escape and a way to get my creativity out. So it's just already lost track of what that question was.
How did you get into freestyle?
Yeah, the freestyle. So that's where it was. So getting out the house, and then the freestyle. I never really considered myself a freestyler. I was just a skateboarder, but there was nothing. That skate park was pretty shit.
So you had flat ground, and that was kind of
and at the time Thrasher was promoting like Steve Caballero riding a freestyle board or whatever, or Tony Hawk riding a freestyle. So it just seemed like skateboarding back then was just, you just did everything.
Products of your environment.
Yeah,
I guess.
so then my friend, weirdly enough, had a freestyle board, so I borrowed that.
Yeah.
And then I just would go down the beach every night and then just skate on that by myself. So I'd play around and see what happens.
And how did you, because you got hooked up by Vision, right? Because you were pro for Vision for a long time.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
Everything's kind of an accident. So again, it's that destiny thing. It feels like everything was kind of an accident. There was nothing ever planned. It just came to me. But so in the probably about 83 or something, or 82 or something, Ian Deacon, he's kind of the ringleader of Brighton. He's the one that was smart enough to plan things out and drive us to contests and get around everything.
And he's still doing that to this day.
Pretty much, right? He just drove me all that to Warrington.
And then he's drove himself all the way back down, yeah.
Right? No, he's amazing. He's a good person. He's done a lot for the skate community. And, but yeah, so he was like, yeah, let's plan to go. So back up a little bit. So he used to work for British Telecom. So at lunchtime, he would go through Thrasher magazine and just call up the numbers that are in the magazine of the companies.
Or the brands?
Yeah, the brands.
What does Cole call them?
And skateboarding was so small that people used to pick up, and he'd know these people just by calling them. It's the same as shooting a DM today, and someone actually replies and goes, hey, what's up, whatever. Back then it was...
What was he doing? Just calling up going, hello, I'm in England.
Yeah, I don't even know what he was saying. I need to ask him that. When you get him on the show, you can ask him that question. Right?
Deacon.
Coming over, Ian, right?
If we get Deacon on the show, we might as well just
quit.
Fold the podcast.
I know, right? Game over.
He's got the answers to the universe.
He does. He's like, he was the original ChatGPT.
Yeah, the freestyle conspiracy strikes again.
He's got it on his business card.
That's it.
Deacon wasn't a freestyler though, was he?
He did everything. Like everyone skated freestyle. Everyone skated.
Just did everything.
Yeah, and street wasn't well established. The ollie wasn't really established, other than doing 180s, really.
Yeah.
So it was just really small. So he said, like, let's all go to the US. So everyone's like, yeah, let's all go. So it's like, whatever, all 8 of us or whatever, we all plan on going. And then that boiled down to me, Deacon, and Smeg.
Yeah, from 8 to like 2 or 3.
Yeah, right. It's always the way, right? So then we got a one-way ticket. So, and I keep jumping around, but so through that phone call, he made a good friendship with Jeff Newton, who was the creator and owner of Zorlak skateboards.
Yeah.
And Zorlak was one of the biggest brands at the time, for how small skateboarding was anyway. So then it was, I believe it was one of those conversations where it's like, yeah, come on out, I'll take care of you or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Who knows where that's really going to go? But so we all go out there with the intention of getting to Zorlak. So we buy a one-way ticket with a 5-day Greyhound pass, which is like a coach pass, for £99. And then land in New York, and we head to Dallas to go to see Jeff Newton. And then Jeff Phillips picks us up from the Greyhound station, which is the equivalent of, like a top pro, like one of the best pros in the world. Verske is picking you up from the airport, which is insane.
Yeah.
So then he handed us off to this guy, Tom Barrows, I think his name was, that was kind of his dad, had kind of been the architect for most of Dallas, the creation of Dallas. So we stayed with him, and then we just kind of hung out in Texas for a while. And then one day I was just freestyling at this construction site or whatever, and Jeff was just watching. He was like, I'm going to get sponsored by Sims. So then he called up Brad Dorfman in California, because he rode for Sims. So then he got me on Sims, and then that was pretty much it, which is kind of weird, because I didn't even know that was even possible to get sponsored. I had no intentions. It wasn't on anyone's radar at that point.
So you must have been pretty good at that time then, skateboarding.
I guess so. I never really thought about it. I just skateboarded.
Had you been doing, like, was there any competitions or anything at the time in Brighton or anything around that area skateboarding wise that you did quite well in? And
yeah, there was a few, but it wasn't. There was skateboarding so small with it. It's almost like big. It's like us three going in the parking lot and then just skating. That was the contest. But there was one in Brighton, but it was Paul Sunman, I think it was. He was he's the owner of Slam C. He used to freestyle, And then, what else?
Freestyle conspiracy.
I know it was, right?
You have to drink every time Freestyle Conspiracy comes up.
I know, right? Shots. And then, what else? Then there was one, the big one was the Farnborough one in 81. But actually, I don't think I entered that. 81, there was a big contest in Farnborough. I don't know if you remember that ramp. There was a ramp and then a freestyle contest. And that was a big one where people from all over Europe came to it. And that was really good. But then Ian Deacon drove, and then my friend stole a bottle of Pernod from the liquor store. What do you call it? Off license.
Off license.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been in America too long. The off license. He bought a bottle of Pernod, and then we drank that on the way to the contest. And I puked all over the ramp and had the worst hangover ever, so I couldn't skate. But I did, when I kind of woke up, I saw like all these people freestyle and stuff. It was crazy. And then Pierre-Andre, who's the owner of, who owned Etnies and Emerica and all that fun stuff, he was there with his ponytail and moustache and dolphin shorts, his little small shorts. But he was
Is that when you first met him?
That's when I first met him, yeah, in 81. So it was just like, again, it goes back to skateboarding as like, it's such an amazing thing. It's one big family.
Yeah.
It's just a series of random events sometimes, isn't it? Like where you are and who you meet and
100%.
where you go after that.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. I think it's the main message of that is just for everyone to just nothing's going to happen if you're just sitting there. Just get out and fucking experience the world and do it.
I think
stuff.
we've spoken about it before, but I think skateboarding is one of the only kind of pastimes where you could potentially just go to where world famous, like the big names in skateboarding are, and you can just go and have a skate with them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you could do that within football or
Right.
That's what I was saying.
that.
Like you're not just going to turn up to a tennis court and there's going to be Roger Federer. Is he one of
a
them?
tennis player?
Like then you're not just going to turn up and they're there, but you run into the same guys a couple of times, and before you know it, it's like, oh, come on the session.
That's what's good about skateboarding, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the all-encompassing, welcoming.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, warm welcome.
Yeah, and there's no real hierarchy. Whether you're a top pro, you're still just a skate rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't are the ones that usually don't do that well. Because they're trying to be something they're not.
So what was so you got on Sims?
Well, yeah. So I got on Sims. Then when I got to California, we got the Greyhound pass across the country on the coach.
How long does that take?
I can't remember. It probably took 4 or 5 days or something.
Fuck that.
It was kind of a nightmare.
So it was good that you got a 5-day pass then.
Yeah.
Was you staying on the coach, sleeping on the coach, stopping off at cities if it takes that long to get from A to
A
B?
little bit. We were just trying to get to California. A lot of the Greyhound stations are pretty sketchy places.
Yeah.
You just don't really want to hang out at.
Still to this day, they can be a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to get to California. So we got there and then we hung out at Del Mar. Ended up sleeping at the Del Mar skate park.
Yeah.
Me, Deacon, Meg. There's trampolines there. That they had this trampoline thing called high balls, and their skateboarders would sleep in the high balls on that thing.
Yeah.
Which really sucks if someone wakes up in the night to pee or whatever, because
You all know
you
about
step down, you roll down to wherever they're stepping. But it was just kind of one of the typical do whatever you can.
Yeah.
If it wasn't on sleeping there, if we got kicked out of the skate park, we'd be sleeping on the beaches. And then eventually we got to meet Brad Dorfman, who was the owner of Sims and Vision.
Big up Brad Dorfman.
Yeah. And then he pulled me aside and he said, yeah, I actually want you to ride for Vision. And I was like, fuck, Sims was the brand. Sims was like the best brand at the time. Like, it just has so much history and legacy. It was the best crew. And I was like, shit, I want to ride for Sims. But he was like, no, Vision's going to be the brand that we put the focus in. And
it was the brand as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge.
So I didn't really care that much as I love Sims. It was more like I wasn't expecting to ever get anything for free in skateboarding. So then getting a free skate was fine.
What were the packages like from Sims? Was it like just get boards whenever you need them?
Yeah.
How often do you go through a board when you're freestyling? Like,
pretty quickly.
yeah, because I guess you're smashing it into the ground repeatedly,
it
aren't
can
you?
be anyway from, but usually about a week, depending on what you're really working on. But today is street boards, you can go through them quicker, right? But depending on what you're doing too.
Yeah.
People go through them in a day.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I've seen people go through them in a day.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So You were skating for Sims and then left for Vision at that time.
Yep. So that was around the 85. I got down to like $1, and I ran out of money basically, and I didn't. And this is something that's really weird, that because I had a one-way ticket, I'd never really thought about it. I only thought about it a few years back, that my mum let me go to America with not enough money to come back, on a one-way ticket with not enough money to come back.
Well, I guess you were just thinking about going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Was she trying to get rid of you or something?
That's what I think so, maybe.
And how old was you at that point when you went to America?
It was 18. I had to be 18 to leave.
Yeah.
So it was like a week after. It was September 3rd,
18.
1984. Yeah. So it's just after my birthday. So then 18. So yeah, it was kind of a bit. It's again, you learn so much just by going out and experiencing the world.
Yeah,
I've learned everything I know through skateboarding.
Who was riding for Vision at that time?
Was
Lee Ralph
Gator
at that time?
Not at that point. It was like Gator, Ken Park, Mark Gonzalez. Or maybe it wasn't Mark Gonzalez at that time, because he rode for Alva for a little bit then.
Yeah.
But he ended up there right around the 86 period. 86, 87. But it was kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. It was just a time when skateboarding was just starting to grow, so there was all this energy coming in.
Yeah.
Paul Schmidt, who did Schmidt sticks at the time, he moved out from Florida to create a wood shop and build all the Vision boards. Then Chuck Holtz, same, he was a board builder. John Greeley, who was a vert pro and street kind of pro, he worked in the warehouse. That's kind of where I was going. I got down to $1, and then Brad Dorfman said I could get a job in the warehouse. So that's where I started working in the warehouse and split off from Deacon and Smeg that were down in Delmar still.
Did you call your mum and you were like, Mum, I'm going to be here for a while?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Didn't really talk that much because phone calls were so expensive.
Yeah. Different,
and
wasn't it?
we didn't even have a phone at home. We didn't have the money. So
How much were you getting paid in the warehouse at that point? Like, what was your wage?
I can't remember. I really don't remember. It was just enough to
survive.
Share an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment with 3 people.
Yeah.
The skateboarders way.
Classic.
Yeah.
Vision around, so like in that, the next big boom then probably would have been like 88, wouldn't it? Around that 88,
86 is when the lifestyle component of skateboarding blew up.
Yeah.
So,
and that's when Vision killed it, right?
Yeah. So that time, just to finish that side of the story, which is kind of funny, is that I was working in the warehouse with John Grigley. And then John told me, it's like, I talked to Brad Dorfman. He said, if you win the next 3 amateur contests, he's going to turn you pro, because there wasn't a pro freestyler at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I hadn't really won any contests.
Yeah.
But somehow I won the next 3 contests for the AM contests. And then I went and told him I won the 3 contests, and he's like, oh shit, like I made that up. I really didn't talk to Brad.
That's because the freestyle conspiracies were like, you have to make Don Brown win these contests.
It's true, right? Yeah, and they were drawing blood from a lamb or something at the time.
So you won those 3 competitions, even though they hadn't spoke about going pro, and then you did.
Yeah, so I won it, and then he felt like, so then he had a really good relationship with Brad, and he just said, he told Brad, and Brad gave me a pro board.
Yeah.
So Steve Douglas is still pissed off.
Big up Steve Douglas.
Yeah, he's still angry because I got the first pro board ever from an American company, an English skateboarder.
Yeah.
That was one.
So Steve Douglas said, you fucking beat me. I didn't mean to. It's an accident. Sorry.
What was so I'm really interested around what I was trying to get onto there. It was like Vision were absolutely killing it around that time.
Yeah.
I heard the stories that there was like an automated warehouse picking system that they spent thousands on.
No.
Or was that completely?
No, that was.
Do you not hear that, Nick?
That was me.
That sounds insane.
There was like a robotic system or something that they put in that cost thousands. Maybe later, but at that point it was me picking up those rails. So it would have been
and
after
throwing
you,
shit in and messing.
unless you were a robot.
Well, maybe.
So you had a pro board. Like, how many boards at that time? Like, were you savvy to how many of your pro models were being sold, and what was it looking like at that point?
Do you still have one of your first pro boards, pristine condition? Or...
Somewhere, yeah.
I let have it for the backdrop.
Somebody did actually on one of the Facebook groups was selling one of your freestyle boards.
Really?
Recently.
They only wanted 50p. Well, it's 20. That's pretty good.
But like, so I'm just trying to, because I really nerd out on this stuff. Around that time, skateboarding was starting to get really big. How much product was being sold, because obviously Vision, you know, is worldwide. So were you savvy to that? Obviously you were picking the orders at that point. And
yeah, because I remember like there was shops like Island Water Sports in Florida and all these places that I'd remember selling to, cheap skates, and they were selling. I remember like just stacks of boards because it was kind of early to market, and Vision and Sims were one of the first really doing it, along with Powell. Mm-hmm. I mean, the 80s was really run by Powell, Santa Cruz, or NHS, Powell, Santa Cruz, and Vision. So, and then there was Thrasher and Transworld. Mm-hmm. And those five, they call them the big five, they really controlled skateboarding.
Yeah.
How much input did you have on your graphics as well?
How much what? Input?
Yeah.
Not a lot. So the little cockroach guy was Mac. I don't know if you remember the skateboarder Mac from South Bank. He used to skate South Bank. Right? He used to do 5-4s at South Bank and inverts and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Deathbox skateboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did the graphics. He was an artist. He did like the flip or whatever, Deathbox graphics. And so he did that. And then there was just all these random images as like random. It was kind of weird because it was just such a random graphic that
the color scheme on that is
input.
So 80s, isn't it? Like the fluorescent
blue,
colours.
yellow, green.
Yeah. It was. There's a lot going on in there, but it felt like it was kind of ahead at the time. I didn't really think about it. It was just like I didn't even really care. I was just like, just give me a skateboard that I can skate.
So did you design the shape of that, or
yeah, I did the shape.
Yeah.
The shape's important on freestyle because you have to have it really lined up with the trucks and everything.
So what was there involved in that shape that made it yours? Like what
did you opt for, like a bigger tail, bigger nose?
Yeah, you can do. There's certain things like the radius on the edges.
Yeah.
Because there's things like called butter flips and stuff that you go off the rail onto the truck, or you can do rail flips on the nose. The angle of the nose is important to have it right. They were all flat. There was no nose kicktail or anything until later on, but no boards really had it at that point either. It kind of developed more later on, do you know what I mean, with the angle of the rails and the sides and stuff. And then obviously the wheelbase makes a huge difference.
What is a wheelbase on a freestyle board?
I can't remember now. I don't even know.
Surely you'd want them a little bit shorter, right? Because they're quite short anyway.
Yeah, they were shorter. Towards the end in the 80s, when I was towards the end of the old freestyle world, I was definitely closer to a street board. I was 8 3/4.
Yeah.
Wide.
Would you get in separate checks from your board sales and your actual day job sales, or was it just all kind of?
Well, after that was only through I worked at the warehouse until so then when I wrote for Vision, I think I was they started paying me $1,500 a month.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And then Vision Streetwear came in '86, and then they ended up paying more too. So then I could leave the warehouse job and then just skate, and then I'd do demos for shops or whatever. Vision would fly me around to like do demos because it's easy. Freestyle is like it's easy, right? You just
bit of flat ground.
Get a bit of flag around there, right there. And it could be anywhere from a skate shop to a department store or something that's just random. And then I had another friend that was connected to this weird world of like doing parties and events, to where they would pay a few $100 too for like doing a bar mitzvah.
Oh, amazing.
And skating on a super like waxy floor. And then there's other ones that always had like big conference or whatever that have like California theme, and they want skateboarders cruising around, so we just do that. But
was you in any of the Vision ads, like sporting all of the crazy colour clothing, or like the boards behind it and everything?
Yeah.
We've got to find some of them then.
Yeah.
Unless you buried them.
I had that website search thing, like cancel them all. But no, it was kind of cool. It was just kind of weird too. But I was good friends with the whole, like Marty Jimenez did a lot. He was Jinx. He wrote for Vision, but he also did a lot of the graphics and a lot of the artwork for the brands. So I was good friends with him. And
how long was you on Vision for?
84 to I think 90 around 90, 91 or something.
Because in all honesty, I really mainly got into Vision because I found Lee Ralph at a young age. Like, obviously.
What, on Tinder?
Yeah. Grinder.
Oh, Grinder, that's right. I forgot you're a guy.
But yeah, just fucking Lee Ralph, innit? Like,
Lee Ralph's the best. He smells like horrible, but he's amazing.
Was it Bud that said like
what does he smell of?
First you hear
raunchy, like sour. Like,
I think it was Bod that
Beef
said, like,
strips.
you hear him, then you smell him, then you see him. Like, you hear him first, smell him, then you see
Isn't there
him.
somebody's making a documentary about him, aren't they?
Yeah, for the last 20 years.
It's
The Muckmouth documentary.
yeah,
is
it's what's his, not Leighton Dyer, but the other, his brother,
It's never coming.
cousin Harold.
Have you got any inside knowledge on it? Is it ever coming out?
I'm
Because
not
that's
sure.
been advertised for the last 10 years. Easy, I'd say.
Right. Yeah, I've already, because I've been asked a lot about that documentary too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say it's
Is that you?
no, that's Primo. So it kind of goes back to the video thing. Was always so crazy. It's probably the biggest part of the regret of how skateboarding developed is you wouldn't really think about it. A filmer would turn up with like a huge ass beta cam or whatever it was.
On the shoulder.
Yeah, and it'd be a production like the Boom or whatever and all this shit. And
Yeah.
it wasn't about like I'm gonna keep doing this. You felt like, oh shit, this guy's in a hurry. I gotta just do a minute of stuff that I'm not gonna fall off. So you'd never be trying to do those 10 tries until I make it, just to like have something really good in there.
Fucking 10 tries, I wish.
You had one chance to like just do your stuff. That's why my shit's so boring. But
Well, it's like when you look at the early Santa Cruz videos and it's clearly filmed like in a day. You know, like Tim Jackson's part in like gambling with
Tim
gravity.
Jackson's the best, yeah.
Like, have you met him, Tim Jackson?
long time ago, yeah.
Is he? What's he like, Tim
He's
Jackson?
a little bit of a crackpot.
I've never met anyone that actually knows him. But I used to send him Baghead stuff years ago, and then he messaged me and he was like, "I've quit Volcom. Does Baghead need any riders?" And I was like, "I'm just a kid in a bedroom." And then I was afraid. That he was gonna like wall ride his way over to me and just beat the living shit out of me. But I've not heard from him in a while, so I didn't know if he was back in prison or.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He comes and goes. But,
Yeah, he was definitely one of the Venice crew. Like,
but I'm sure he only had that one part, and that one part's incredible. He started that whole wave
Yeah, you
of
get a lot
like
of people talking about it, don't you?
Dead Dave loves him.
Yeah.
Just for all of those, like he like 4 wheels wall rides up walls and blunt slides across them and then pulls them back out. I've never seen anyone else
he
do
was
it.
incredible.
But
It's funny, isn't it? There's very few people that can have one video part that has such a strong impact.
Right.
I mean, going back to PJ Ladd, you know, I mean,
yeah, that collar, like he's had multiple parts.
I know,
so
but that's the one that like you can remember.
If you were to wipe every other video part,
Yeah.
that one would still stand the test of time. Yeah. What's PJ like?
Back to PJ.
He's one of those people that's just like, he's a deep thinker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's like on another level. You feel like you're in the moment. He's really like 5 or 6 steps ahead of you. Already anticipate every question you're going to ask him.
Yeah.
Like I have with you two right now. I know what the next 7 questions are going to be. But he's like, he's pretty deep and very philosophical, which is kind of where he's going with his whole religion thing now too, where it's just like, he's so, like I talked to him and he's just so on another level, which I like that stuff.
I heard somewhere that with his religion as well, he only skates at certain hours of the day as well.
Yeah.
Like he's only got an allotted certain hours of the day that he can skate.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's certain times when there's different, I don't even know the names of all this stuff. It's hard for me to even comment on it because I don't want to get it wrong, but it's just like there's certain times of the day where there's just different energies coming in from when the sun rises to where the moon is to all this different stuff. To where it's,
Is that where he gets the lightning quick flick on all of his tricks?
I think it must be.
The sun has got to be at the right angle. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong all this time.
Yeah.
But that part was the first
Many
time I
things
saw
have been done
people
wrong.
doing tricks mid-ledge, like ledge, mid-ledge, back to ledge. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, he does the. What does he do? The kickflip 5-0 or 5-0 kickflip 5-0.
Doesn't he do kickflip 5 and then kickflip back to
Frontside
5?
nose grind, nollie
and then-
180 round
yeah.
to switch 5-0.
But it's like it's not what you do, it's how you do it, right?
Yeah,
Skateboarding.
absolutely.
It's like it doesn't matter if you like it was that weird period of that 90s, the Rocco period.
Yeah.
It's just there was so much going on, and there was so much like a million tries to make one quadruple flip that was big then, but it was just I don't know. It's more about the style as that progressed through it. It's all about more just how you do it versus just doing crazy shit.
Skateboarding was really inconsistent around that time. I just remember like the amount of shinners you'd get just trying to flip your board into some stupid.
Right.
But then you get Ellis Frost who can do quadruple flips like consistently all the time, can't you?
Right. The thing that's interesting, so we used to skate the freestyle we used to freestyle this place called Pay and Play, which is opposite Huntington Beach High School.
Yeah.
And it was Pay and Play was like a racquetball court or something. We had to pay to get in and whatever. But the outside there, these basketball courts, and we used to skate there. And then I'm really good friends, Ed Templeton and Jason Lee, and all those guys were all part of the HB crew.
Jason Lee in there, why don't you?
But they were all
god on a
Very
skateboard.
casual to name drop.
What's
there.
Jason Lee like?
he's Jason Lee, like the same kind of guy you see him on the screen pretty much. But no, I mean, all amazing humans, but they're just all different levels of creativity and but it was just interesting how Ed used to freestyle with us. There was one of his best friends that he went to school with, Jeremy Ramey, was a freestyler. So Ed used to freestyle a lot. So that it was just interesting how he kind of helped influence other skateboarders to freestyle, whether it's just doing shove-its or kick flips or heel flips or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then he started taking it to stairs and stuff. So one day I will never forget when Ed and Jason said, "Hey, come up to the skate park, to HB High School, and check this out."
What year was this? What year would it have
It's
been?
probably 1991,
So
right
like on
around
the
there.
eve of video days, kind of.
Yeah, it's basically when skateboarding imploded and it kind of, the new kind of birth of skateboarding kind of came out of that from the ashes. But there was like 5 stairs at the high school. So then they were doing the tricks that they'd kind of learned from us, but doing it down the stairs. So that's why Ed was doing all impossibles and 1 foot, and Jason would be, kick flip, tray flip, whatever. It just, they'd be doing them down the stairs, and it was just one of those moments that I would never forget. That I was like, this is the end of freestyle.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like, Ed would go and just front board the little
Yeah.
handrail in the front with a little kink on the end or whatever.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
And at the same time as I was seeing all that, you could see that it's like, you can see that the basics of flatland and freestyle, we're going to go to ramps and to rails and to everything else. And it's exactly what it is today. Where it's like that kid who just won Tampa Am or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it Junie? Korean guy.
I have no idea.
That's that's the biggest issue with skateboarding right now, right? There's so much
There's so much
crazy stuff going on, and you can't remember the name. Which
Yeah.
you would never forget Mike McGill doing the 540 not
of
540
course.
McTwist. There's things that are so like, they redefine skateboarding, and it's like you never forget the name. But today
But do
it's
you
like
think kids have
skateboarding is
that
being
now?
redefined every day.
Do you think kids remember that now, or do you think it's just
I think it's just
we
different.
don't because we're not paying as much
Well,
attention
just
to
going
it?
back to what Don was saying, like when Useless Wooden Toys came out and Ed was in there doing Impossibles,
Yeah.
like every kid was like, I need to learn Impossibles. I remember just days and days trying to do it. Nick, you were probably the same. Like that was the trick, wasn't it? Because that was the first time you'd seen that trick done in that
I think
kind
kids
of way.
are doing that now
But
because they're now doing that nollie 270 to knows what that U-toe tornado spin thing.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that at the Tampa as well. Like that's just a standard trick now because one kid's proved that you could do it. That's becoming like a standard in a run, which is think of that
That's
trick.
fucking mental that's the standard trick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know what's going on with skateboarding right now. We could have a whole hour-long rant about why it's fucked.
Let's do it.
Is it fucked?
I want to hear why you think it's fucked.
Well, we talk about this quite a lot, but like,
I just wanted
it's-
to go back to Jason Lee and video.
Sorry, yeah,
days.
let's finish that, and then
Okay,
we'll go back
okay,
to
okay.
why is skateboarding fucked?
So either way, so that period of that was when you really saw there was going to be quantum leaps.
You see the change in it.
progression, because it was just like, holy shit, these guys just took it to another level.
And they did it so well, didn't they? Like, like the style from like Ed Templeton's style is so like you can see that miles away, and Jason Lee, the way he did like the backside flip up the stairs in video days, and
Just when
just
he does
stuff like
shoves
that,
on
it's
flat,
just-
you can see that it's Jason Lee.
and maybe
Yeah.
there was a change there of it's not so much what you do, it's how you do it, and that kind of, I don't know.
There's certain skaters that if you just saw a silhouette of them, you'd know exactly who it is because it's
Like
so
Musker
ingrained
on the
with,
wallpaper
like,
downstairs in the
just
toilet.
take a
the
picture
toilet.
of that
Yeah,
and put it on there.
like Musker's in the toilet downstairs. But what I wanted to get
Which
at,
is going to have no reference to anyone listening to this.
what I wanted
fuck's
to get at,
sake.
You got
because
to take a picture and post that.
I read somewhere that in video days when Jason Lee, we spoke about before, when he does front free down the stairs and then he does 2 tic tacs, specifically 2 tic tacs, then tray flips, but then leans slightly far over and does a backside flip down the second set. It's like a 3-set, 3-set, 3. That was one of the first tray flips documented on video.
Was it?
In a line.
I don't know. It's a good one, though. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I can picture exactly the double tic-tac after the front 3 and the tray flip.
The front 3's good.
And then he leans too far over, tippy toes, and then saves it with a backside flip.
There's not many people who have a really good front 3. Jeremy Ray, obviously, probably the best one ever. Brandon Westgate's got a good one as well, hasn't he? It's a fucking good trick, that, the front 3. All done. Sorry, who'd you say?
Emu.
Yeah.
Do you know Emu?
No.
I knew you wouldn't. No, he's a Japanese kid that rides for S, but he's like that guy.
Oh, hang on. Is he the kid who the flick is like...
Yeah, it's like perfect.
Explosive catch. Yeah, I know what you mean.
His front 3s are just like, it's just like a normal ollie.
It's such a good trick when you see someone do a good front 3.
But Jeremy Ray for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, that one Jason Lee does is a very good front 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got distracted by front 3s. What were we talking about? Why is skateboarding fucked? That's what we were going to go on
I'll let
to.
you two take this one.
So, fucking hell, where'd you start with this? We were talking about it earlier, weren't
Well,
we?
you got to ask the question, do you think skateboarding's fucked?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know, because I don't know. I mean, I think about it a lot now, like obviously being a lot older than when I started skating.
You think skating went shit after Stay Gold, after that Reynolds part? That's what Toby put on Instagram.
Part of me, yeah, I mean, it's nostalgia, isn't it? Nostalgia is a very sort of...
I think it went shit after PJ's Wonderful Horrible Life, to be honest.
But skateboarding is so different now. I often wonder if I was to start skating now, I don't know whether it would have the same sort of draw that it did when I started.
Same impact.
Because I liked it because nobody did it. It was like the real underdog thing, and I hated any kind of regular sport, and it was like, that's for me straight away. I was like, that's skateboarding. I don't know whether I'd have the same thoughts about it now. If I, you'll never know. But the industry seems to be fucked. I mean,
he's looking to Daddy Brown.
Get it off the chest.
What's your opinion on it? Obviously, we'll come around to...
Let's chat GPT it and see what comes out.
Yeah,
because
get phrases do that.
It's created by the freestyle conspiracy.
Right?
But there's been a lot of things happening. More recently, the whole thing with Akai. I don't know if we can talk about that. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Well, it's pretty common knowledge.
Yeah,
The new owner put a big speech out.
What's your thoughts on that? And
it's just, I mean, it's the telling times, right?
Yeah.
That's how it is right now. But there's the biggest challenge for skateboarding right now is there's just too much choice.
Too much.
It's saturated on every level. There's too many really good skateboarders.
yeah,
So the only way getting out of that is to up the standards of what a professional skateboarder should be. But there's no rules to skateboarding of what a pro should.
but isn't that why skateboarding is so good? Because there are no rules.
Well,
I'm probably going to get shot for saying this. That a pro endorsed product doesn't really bring much to the table as far as for the consumer point of view. I'm looking at Nick here because I need him to back me up in case Don.
Funnily enough, according to ChatGPT, one of the issues was the shifting definition of what a pro skater is.
wow.
Interesting.
See, why do we mess around
But yeah,
trying to
like,
get
so-
it when we can just look on the computer and get the answer?
What you were saying?
Yeah, what's the point in the podcast? Let's just chat GPT everything.
I know we should.
This is what you were saying, Don. That like that the boundaries of what a pro skater is almost endless, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then what I'm saying is, do we need pro skaters?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There we go. So that's
Get near a seat and sit near the microphone.
So
give him your seat.
Fucking hell, this is turning into a write-up. But so when I first started, it was like Sean Goff, Brand X, and then you had Wurzel, Deathbox, and then Pete Dossett, and McGill, and the Bones Brigade, and Dressen. But now there's so many pro skaters, like fucking thousands. And I know we've spoken about this, but we get emails all the time because of our roles within the companies and that. So-and-so's turned pro for this brand, and I haven't heard of that brand, and I haven't heard of that pro. Why would I be buying their pro board? Like, you'd think you know more about it than the kids, and the kids are the ones that are going to be buying the board. So
But kids coming in, they don't know whose name's on the board.
they don't give a fuck.
They don't know. Kids coming in, you ask them who Tom Penny is. They have no fucking idea.
So we kick them out straight away.
Yeah,
Sure.
they're banned straight
Good.
away. But they know who you are. I'm like, do you know who this is? They're like, obviously, freestyle conspiracy.
But I had this conversation, like, I just think it's becoming more and more irrelevant to have pro rider endorsed products. I don't know. But I think there's always a place for it because you'll always get someone who's a fan of, you know, like Andrew Reynolds products, is always people going to be into that, right?
Yeah, but I think that's also an age gap, as in he's always going to have his cult supporters. I think a lot of kids now don't have a favourite skateboarder, and they've not had to sit waiting for the new PJ part or the new Don Brown part. You know what I mean? They've not had to sit waiting for it. Whereas,
Are you working on a new part?
Yes, I'm
What's your,
close.
So
close
obviously, we're kind of jumping ahead here because I wanted to talk about your side, you know, your business side of skateboarding and that. But in a nutshell, why do you think skateboarding is fucked?
well, does he even?
I don't think it's fucked. It's just the evolution of where we are today. It came from this subculture that every industry goes from this small thing that everyone hates, and then suddenly it slowly grows because it's more attractive and interesting, and then it becomes, the more you reach those outer rings of skateboarding, you get into the lifestyle and the fashion and all that stuff, then it just kind of dilutes everything where it came from. So our generation, it's like I clearly remember being Hove Town Hall skiing, and some elderly lady or whatever at the time saying, you should go get a job, you're too old to be skateboarding, like, get out of here. And I was 15 at the time. I mean, and she thought that I was old, thinking that a skateboard should be something you do when you're 6 to 10 or whatever. I don't know. But it's just like, that's why I loved it too. And it wasn't just the skateboarding component. You had the music, like the whole punk movement all was integrated within the skate culture, to where it's like we all felt like we were like against the grain and screw the mainstream. Yeah. And then the more mainstream it became, the more it kind of diluted it and took it away, because suddenly all these other people were into it. You know what I mean? It's like all the days of listening to punk, and then suddenly you hear all this bullshit punk stuff on the radio, and it just seemed like, oh, whatever now. But now it's just got so far, and now it's so oversaturated. There's too much choice. There's too many brands. It's just, where do you go? Where do you look to find stuff? It's like confusing. And the only way of doing it is to rise to the top of the noise and create your own thing that's unique and different from everyone else. But what is that? Because you try and do anything different, everyone pulls you down and says, that sucks. Like, I don't know the exact, each country, but I think between, like, I think the top, like, within 8 of the Temp Am finalists were Japanese, and I think 1 Korean who won it, right? So it's just one of those things that it's like, that's incredible. So like, the actual is an actual contest, something you compete against others to be that they've taken over. But skateboarding is, I don't know, it's like, for me, and again, it's like, for me, because I grew up in that, but it's more about the activity that happens in the culture on the streets and the community of bringing people together and the love, and like versus like trying to get a point against someone. It's like the personal achievements of, you know, when your friend does a trick for the first time, that's what it's all about. Or if you make something for the first time, that's where you get excited and you go home and you feel satisfied. But like winning a contest and getting a check for 10,000 and a Rockstar contract, it's like, but that's what a lot of the kids are growing up to now. So now you see all
that's their
like,
expectations.
I mean, that's a little weird yesterday at the contest, the UK Championship, seeing coaches there holding hands of a rider to get it, you know, to the bull slide on the rail, like run next to them holding their hand to like, and it's just like, that's incredible, but really weird at the same time. But it is what it is. It's just skateboarding, and we should just be so happy that we can still do this.
Yeah, I think that's, you know what I mean? That's probably the...
And not to overthink it, because skateboarding is always going to go, it's always going to
change again.
Roll, and it's that thing about skateboarding is always going to evolve, and it's probably going to devolve at some point too and go backwards and probably implode like it probably is ripe to do right now. But out of the ashes always becomes this new energy and new excitement that... I mean, there's like all these contests that I got hit up recently by all these new contest people that want to do like a big like NBA, like NFL kind of like contest, big stadiums, and I'm just like, like, does anyone want that? It's just skateboarding, like, it's like Street League. It's incredible what everyone's doing. But I don't even know if most of the people in the Street League, if any of them actually sell product. But the sponsors, the rock stars and all the Monster Energy and all that stuff, they're just looking at it as like, I just need brand exposure on the TV and whatever, and I'll pay for that. Which is great if you can get paid for skateboarding.
Yeah, it is.
But it's generational shifts from what our values and beliefs were based on what they are today, and how there's I got videos that my friend in China sent me that of parents or adults kicking their children at the skate park.
I seen that. The kid's on the floor and his dad's kicking him.
Yeah.
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 In the head. Yeah.
For not landing
I
the
guess
trick
for
or
not
something?
doing something.
Yeah.
I seen that. It's insane.
I mean, there is a point if you're gonna push Mongo or mob flip or whatever, then you should probably be kicked.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Are you telling me you're going to go kick Bill Danforth in the head?
If I have to, but
You heard it here first. Bill Danforth first, Don Brown.
no, Bill's amazing. As long as he skates with his dog.
Because he was an aggressive Mongo pusher.
He was.
No need to kick kids though, is there?
No.
Unless they're really irritating.
Yeah, if they wear Cariuma, maybe.
Yeah. Fuck.
Alex Tacuna. Alex Tacuna's in Carry.
Boom! Straight in there with a
You can
carrot.
say that because I think Cariuma's out skateboarding now, so that should open up the
Yeah,
three
it's definitely
streets they
Out
sold
of
for skateboarders.
skateboarding.
That's the rumours. I don't know. Like,
What, that they're like realising, oh shit, maybe there's not as much money in this as we thought, or are they just going under?
they've invested millions of dollars into skateboarding, and they haven't seen any return. They were losing $10 million a year,
Oh shit.
No
all the
shit.
investment-
I could have told them that.
and all the investors are finding like, this is done. Let's move
Oh,
on.
imagine that.
Let's go back to the
Imagine.
Kings or
Look
something.
how happy Toby's so happy.
Just say just save. Give me half that money, and just don't worry about it because you save the rest.
No, but if Carryuma goes and then those people that wear it don't have it, and then they start actually buying legitimate skateboarding footwear brands again,
That's true.
that's good.
Yeah, that's
Because
good.
Baston Salabanzi posted on Instagram, I'm no longer with Carryuma. And I know that he's been between brands like for a while, but he's also been on Carryuma for a while.
You know, I mean, it's again. I always appreciate people that put money into skateboarding and support
Yeah.
skateboarders. I love it when skateboarders make money and a lot of money, and they can hopefully retire off it at one point. But it's, I don't know. It's just weird too. It's just something about the beauty of skateboarding that just feels like it's getting damaged. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. That it's just skateboarding. Don't overthink it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait
We
to see
care
this
to.
Carryuma thing unfold. I can't wait for it to be on Slap and it's confirmed by some random guy in
The
Slap.
beauty of skateboarding is we all care about it so much. Do you know what I mean? We
very personal thing,
but it's
isn't it?
also like maybe we hold ourselves back with those decisions
Yeah.
too, with what skateboarding could be. But I think it's important to have, it's sad that the Jake Phelps and the Jeff Grossos are the people that really helped
Yeah.
be the guards of the spirit of skateboarding. And that's why it's the beauty of all the contests that are coming up, they're just like in mayhem. That's what skateboarding's about, being in the mosh pit, to us anyway. But again, I went to the exposure contest that Amelia Brodka does in California a few weeks ago. And it blows my mind, that contest. You see all these little girls, like 8 to 12, and some of them are spinning switch fives in a contest run. And they're just so under the radar in the bigger scheme of what we all look at as skateboarding. Like, you wouldn't probably be able to name any of those girls.
No.
So it's just, you know what I mean? That's how big skateboarding is. It's got all these little different segments and niches. So it's also important or niches, sorry. Been in America too long. But it's kind of up to us to make it what we want it to be and hang out with who we want to be and stop pointing the finger at everyone else and criticizing, I guess,
So
Yeah.
just chill out on it a little bit.
No, I just
chill out and go skate. It's fine.
well, that's what I try and do, but I don't know.
I think, like you said, you are poisoned by nostalgia with it.
Yeah, and I always have to bear that in mind, like rose tinted glasses, etc. But
I'm getting annoyed because wasn't we promised some Ronnie Krieger shoes like 6 months ago? They never turned up. That's what poisons my
well,
mind.
no,
Right here for you.
right,
No,
you-
that isn't even a lie because he's here.
That was a
Like,
good
we
catch.
actually,
No.
Toby
Yeah,
was like, we're
listen.
going to get some Ronnie Krieger shoes. They
Well,
never turned up.
Okay, right, you've blown it because it was Kev Parrott promised us some Sour 23s, and just the fact that you don't even know what ones they were shows that
You
you've
told
not
me it was a
actually-
Krieger.
No, Sour 23s.
Yeah, he told me it was a
Kev
Krieger.
was sending them in, so I don't know. Anyway,
Well, when are they coming?
I don't know.
January, yeah.
Hey, look, I got the black
got
and red
pushed
Musca
out.
ones. That's the only ones I wanted was those black and red Musca.
What'd you
Kev
put
sent me
in
some of
the
those.
stash pocket? What you got?
What's that?
What'd you put in the stash pocket?
Just pictures of me and you, little Polaroids that we took at the weekend.
That wasn't me, remember. It was the other freestyler.
I wonder
yeah.
what's the largest amount of weed you could put in a mustache bucket.
What's the largest amount of weed you've smoked?
Well, let's not talk about stuff like that.
You started it. You brought it up.
That would be a good contest.
How much weed do you reckon you two could smoke between you right now?
You know, dude.
I don't smoke weed, but I could
No,
probably
I don't
smoke a
either.
lot.
Hold on a second, we need to talk about sponsoring this episode of the Brain Train Show. Toby, take it away.
Today's sponsor is Slappy Trucks.
Slappy Trucks comes from the mind of Mike Sinclair and was created through the lockdown. He was messing around with his trucks and he thought, hold on, I might just have a way to make them a little bit better.
Slappy Trucks provide the best grind clearance and slappy angle to keep your kingpins from the dreaded snag on Smiths, Feebles, Hurricanes, Bennett and Barley grinds, and has been measured by Professor Paul Schmidt. Slappy Trucks have the quickest turn, the best grind clearance, less wheel bite, no braking time, and are 100% more fun. I'm currently riding the inverted Kingpin Hollow ones, and they're very nice, and I'm getting on great with them. They are sick.
Slappy Trucks also have an incredibly large team, and some of our favourites are Mike Fraser, Leonardo Fincus, Abe Bethel, the Cab Killer Ira, and Arissa True.
They're also sorting out Will Sayer, Ben Plum, Liddy Strachan, Twiggy, and Manny Haddon. Where can people find out about Slappy Trucks, Forde?
They can find them at Slappy Trucks on Instagram or www.slappytrucks.com, or simply head to Roller Snakes and just search Slappy Trucks and see how many we have in stock. Toby?
Back to the show.
Back to the show right now.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
Back to
now.
the show. Oh, no.
So you were on like a why is the industry this and that, but that could go on for a while.
We didn't really get any answers out of it, but I think the sort of takeaway from the industry stuff is
I think it's because it's so open,
I think
isn't it?
you just have to sort of take skateboarding for whatever it is to you. You know, like for me right now, it's coming in here Saturday mornings and having an hour just
On the curbs.
Yeah, having an hour on the curbs. That's kind of where I'm at with it now. And as long as you're just skating, I guess that's
Right.
the takeaway from that. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. It used to mean
very
like
personal
it was
thing,
very
isn't it?
similar back in the early days, right? Because it was like it was tighter and smaller. And it was different. Now it's like just this big blown out. Like I was walking down the street last night, trying to avoid being stabbed. And,
We're in Nottingham.
Yeah, Nottingham.
I did want it.
And there's
Fair.
a Debenhams or something there, and there's a skateboarder hanging out on the sign outside or whatever, and that's where it is now, right?
Yeah.
It's just a
Everywhere.
different landscape, isn't it?
So people just see skateboarding as just a normal. It's like having a tennis racket. Everyone's got a tennis racket at their house. Do you?
No.
Yes,
Yes,
people
yes.
with cricket bats in
Thanks.
England.
That's better. In America, everyone has a tennis racket in their house.
Yeah.
But it's just, you have it, but it's not like you use it every day. I feel like that's what skateboarding has come to. Everyone has a skateboard at their house, but they don't use it all the time. And there's a lot of those damn e-bikes and stuff. Like I went to the skate park, Etnies skate park. There was no one there, and I asked the guy, the manager there, it's like one that's got a fenced in little thing, and it was empty. And I was like, "Is this normal?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of all the kids are just riding e-bikes now, the electric bikes."
Yeah, and robbing phones.
Yeah, robbing phones. I mean, there's good money in that. That's why I'm going to London tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get a couple of iPhones.
Yeah, pay for your one-way return ticket back.
I know, finally.
You only got a one-way here and you're like,
I know.
shit.
And the Greyhound passes, the tickets have gone up now. So got to get a couple more phones, actually.
Yeah, I always find it funny that you know, like here, like if I had what we have outside here at Roller Snakes, and I live locally, I'd be there all the time, every single day. There's only a handful of kids who are here consistently
Yeah.
because they got there's skate parks everywhere now. Like back in the day, there was very few parks, but I'm getting all nostalgic again. I'll start
And
crying.
they're doing TikTok dances too.
Yeah, fuck that. Are you big on TikTok?
Oh, fucking giant.
Well,
I don't know.
what's your TikTok
I know
name?
it's sad.
it was created by the Freestyle Conspiracy.
Yeah, fuck what they created TikTok as well.
Yeah, we invented it, but I didn't want to go there. But yeah. It's kind of weird.
Do you want to go on to?
Do
Do you want to start the podcast?
No, this
Yeah,
is.
when's that going to start? Are we just pissing around right now?
Just
right?
pissing
It's not
around.
Serious.
I mean, that's essentially what this podcast has been. What episode is this going to be? 47 or something?
46, 47, yeah.
Yeah. All we've done is this, just pissing around for the last 2 years. It's great.
And people like it.
I want to talk about. You mentioned meeting Pierre back in the day.
Yeah.
Etnies,
Yeah.
and then obviously Emerica S. Give us a kind of rundown on how that all
Can we
happened.
just get ChatGPT to do it?
Yeah, I mean, run it through. Do it.
And
Don wants to have a break. Don's had enough.
and before we get into it, what is the story between Etnies and S and taking the E and the S from Etnies and making S, and what's that whole
But that's the whole thing, right?
backstory?
So originally, the brand that Etnies came from actually a big fashion conglomerate in France,
Yeah.
freelance.
Yeah.
And they made really high-end, expensive shoes and fashion and all that stuff. And they used to give shoes to Vivienne Westwood crew and the Jean Paul Gaultier. Like my accent there.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Can you say that again one more time for the
Jean
listeners?
Paul Gaultier. Oui, oui. Bonjour. I know.
What,
it's
his
pretty
French
good,
is great, isn't
It's
it?
really good. I love it. But anyway, so he had a son, one of the owners had a son that loved skateboarding, so they built a skateboard company. Just based on he loved the fact that skateboarders travel around in groups and crews and like in a tribe.
Yeah.
Hence where the name originally came from. It was Etnies at first, and it was based on ethnic tribes. The skateboarders,
Okay.
which makes sense, right? Because skateboarders do travel around in groups and crews, just exploring, looking for new spots, like just constantly like out there. And then the Etnies name was too close to the brand name Atonic, so then cease and desist came in, and they had to stop that. And then the new name was Etnies. That's kind of where that came from. So then Etnies was mostly based in Europe in the 80s. And then 89, Pierre started getting involved with it more and riding for him and doing the stuff. And then ended up taking over the distribution for it. And then did the distribution in the US. So it was Etnies USA, because we didn't have Europe at the time, just the US and Japan and that. So that's when skateboarding imploded around that 1990. And then Pierre took perfect time to like take on distribution of a brand when skateboarding just implodes. So then Airwalk and Vans and Simple and all these other brands just were like going downhill rapidly. And that's where we were already at ground zero pretty much at that point. So that's when I joined Pierre in 91. I was skating down the beach and he was looking for help. I actually wasn't getting any money from any of the any brands at that point. I was working at a skate shop in HB.
A lot of action going down at the beach.
There's a lot of
Seems
action.
like it all seems to start from.
Everything happened at the beach. That's where I met my wife there and everything.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sand in your bearings if you skate at the beach too much?
I skate fast.
Right, okay.
Nice one.
I did
That's
not.
a good answer. Okay.
Well, even when you're freestyling.
Yeah, I don't let.
Just like
there's no
pony.
time for sand to get in bearings.
Yeah.
But no, so it's just like, but that's just like the epicenter of where everyone used to meet up is
Yeah.
at the beach. And Pierre was just like, yeah, I need help. You're going to help. And even though I've worked with Pierre for over 33 years, I never really felt like I had a job. It was always that I'm just helping a friend out. So it's kind of, that's again, that part of skateboarding. It's just like we're all friends and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same as you guys, you know, the way you don't get paid very good because you're doing it for your friends.
Not even doing it. Not even doing it for friends, are we?
Just kidding.
Well, if you got any jobs going, we'll take
Had
them.
that discussion. But no, it was just, I don't know, it's just amazing, right? To be able to work in this industry, in this world that we've seen grow. So Etnies was really slow to start. The shoes were still getting shipped from France. We're getting shipped from Asia to France and France to the US. So it's just stupid. And it was, obviously the prices were super high. Some of the shipments, Pierre didn't have the money to pay at first immediately. So they sat in the dock for a while and then they turned moldy. So then when the shoes got delivered, I just remember the shoes were all moldy, but we had to do something with them because we had them. So then I'd be brushing them down. And that's when I'd be sending shoes to Rodney Mullen and Day One and Richard Mulder and just all the Plan B, like Plan B World Foundation. I was just going to give them
Sending them mouldy shoes.
Yeah.
Did you brush the mould off?
I did, but don't tell them. I probably got all the shit in my lungs too from all that stuff. It's plenty cool out with me. But yeah, so it's just kind of getting the shoes out to them. And then those were a high top shoe. They started cutting those down into low tops. And then we started making a shoe called the low cut, which was basically one of the first shoes to be cut down. We also took away all the big rubber outside durability stories and just made them more kind of street, kind of casual. And then we started just growing like crazy. It was kind of one of those things that at first it'd be just trying to get 6 shoes in a shop. I used to get my skate friends to come in, and I'd have them call all the skate shops and say, hey, do you have Etnies? And then I'd call up the shop after, you know, a few hours later, next day, and say, hey, do you need an order? And they'd always say, you know, people have been asking for Etnies. Let me get some shoes.
Doing that supply and demand. That's what, yeah.
Right. So if you guys see me do that with roller snakes,
It's a good way of doing it, though, isn't it? It kind of implants it in
just got to hustle.
the shops.
Yeah. But yeah, so either way, it went from 6 to 12 shoes to, you know, 36, 48, whatever, and it was like more and more shoes. And then I remember in Canada, there was a time when there was a shop that told me that it's like, I don't know what you're doing right now, but just keep doing it, because people are coming in buying Etnies that don't even skate. And that was, again, a really defining moment for the future, where skateboarding went more lifestyle and out into the mainstream.
What was the main style at that point that was more sort of fashion style? Was it the Cali cut?
That was still the wrap and the low cut,
Right.
and the skulls,
Yeah.
and the scams at that point. But it was right around that period as things kind of evolved into the Cali cut too. When the Cali cut hit, then it went super big. But again, all the money that was made from that was all reinvested back into skateboarding through the cons. Did I just say a cons? What did it?
Invested back into the cunts.
Yeah, back into the cons. I mean, fuck.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like what you said about in your episode as well, Nick, with your radio days. You know, like those shoes pay to like take the team away on trips.
Yeah, team trips, content, sponsor the concert of the European Championships. I'd be able to like pay the riders more than anyone else had ever paid them before, and just do all this fun shit.
And that's how that happens. It's not from the skate shops buying a few shoes. That's not really.
Yeah, exactly. So that was all going on, and then at the same time, we saw Musker, Penny, Costin, all these guys coming in to get Etnies or whatever, and they. On the side, they would be wearing athletic shoes just when they weren't, because it was like the big thing about hip hop was really taken off again, and basketball was becoming stronger for some reason at that time. Just the culture of basketball. So people started wearing more of those style shoes. So then we're like, well, let's create what the guys are wearing when they're not skateboarding, and let them skate in it, and that's where. You know, the Sal 23 and just the SLB, the 97, then the Custom 1, all these shoes were kind of stuff that before that it was just like either Vans vulcanized or kind of some kind of bulky airwalk looking shoe. And we kind of helped kind of make it more street. And then that's where it just, S was created obviously in 95 to cater to that whole sportier vibe. And then Emerica.
What was one of your biggest selling pro shoes, would you say?
It was the Don Brown Pro Model.
Yeah, I thought so.
Still killing it.
It's still
to this
crushing
day.
it right now.
I've got a spare room full of them.
I know. Yeah.
You just keep sending them to me.
Sell them to TK Maxx. It'd be good. No, what's the top selling shoe? The Calicut and the low cut were definitely up there. The custom one was definitely up there.
How many pairs can you remember off the top of your head? What was like the biggest pre-order for like the costing one in the heyday? How many thousands of pairs are we talking with that shoe?
I don't even know.
Because it was fucking.
We were doing tens of thousands. I mean, it was like, it was pretty insane.
That was a good shoe.
It was really good, but it was once it went to that bigger distribution. That's when. Because we tried, that's why we did Sheep. I don't know if you heard that story, but we did Sheep because all the big mainstream stores were trying to buy Etnies S in America, but we didn't want to sell to them because we wanted to keep it to the skate shops.
Yeah.
But we saw the opportunity, and then there's brands like Skechers were ripping off the 23 and the Jeremy Ray Dukes at the time. So then it was just like, let's just create our own brand and rip ourselves off and sell it to the mainstream. So we created Sheep. And then
It's a good way of doing it.
And then we tried making the materials like thinking they're cheaper canvas, but then we didn't calculate that the canvas actually had a higher duty. So the shoes didn't really come out any cheaper. So we had these shoes like, fuck.
You not just sell them for more to the high-end fashion stores.
Right, we should have, but that didn't really exist then for us. But what we did is I got Ed Templeton from Vans to come to America, and he was a vegan. And then because he was wearing the canvas shoes, then suddenly all the other vegans wanted to be a part of it. So then you had like Frank Hirata and Rick McCrank.
Frank Hirata, I've not heard that.
Sergei Tronowski. and what else? Brian Anderson.
Mhm.
Sheep had a pretty stacked, pretty solid team.
Yeah.
It's kind of like still such a cult classic. But then, so anyway, so we did that, and then so we had Etnies, Emerica, Sheep, and then 32 snowboard boots too. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation behind the names of them, like Etnies, S in America, all being E's?
Oh yeah, that's where you were going, right? So yeah, so the S was from the first letter and the last letter of Etnies.
Yeah.
And that's good. And we put the little accent on because we wanted and little kind of script vibes because we wanted to feel like more sophisticated and more, I don't know, just more elevated.
Mm-hmm.
And then America, because our distribution at the time was Etnies America, we just took kicked off the A and put the E from Etnies on America, made America. And that's it. And then Sheep was just, it doesn't have an E, but I guess you could call it E-Sheep, just for you.
Yeah.
But no, Sheep was just like, because it was based on following and kind of ripping ourselves off. So it was just that.
I had a pair of the first run of Sheep Shoes. I remember getting them. Didn't last long at all because canvas, obviously, but...
Send them back. I got you.
Talking of,
Sheep actually they did really good in England. Like the A4 guys down now.
You had
really
Manzuri on at the time.
Oh yeah, Manzuri, of course.
Obviously, Manzuri was, at the time was like the dude.
Life of Leisure is one of the top videos.
Yeah, I guess that helped at the time having
Incredible.
Manzuri on it.
Manzuri's the best.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Manzuri's one of the
Legend.
best human beings and best skateboarders
Where
that
is he
ever
living
came
now?
out of England.
Is he living?
Still in LA, yeah.
Right. We need to get him.
because we always hear that he's like coming back, and we've
Need
spoken
to
to him,
get him
haven't
on,
we? And he
yeah.
says like, I do want to come on. I just need to come on when I'm back.
Just side note, you don't have to put this in, but if
going
you've
in.
got any of
He's
your,
not gay.
if you have any riders coming over here, can you send them to us so we can get them on here and watch them skate outside?
Do you want me to be a
I
scout?
especially want to get Kelly Hart on because he seems like a rad
He
dude.
just laugh.
I want to talk to him about 4-on-1 for
No, he's a
about
nerd
10
on that
hours.
stuff.
So I'd love to get him on.
Yeah, that'd be for sure.
Yeah, anyone who comes over, just point them in our direction because we'll.
Can you move to
We'll
a
get him some
closer
Gregs.
location to Heathrow Airport?
Fuck.
Yeah, maybe we could just do it at Heathrow. The brain drain
Perfect.
by Heathrow.
Oh, come on, we're only
The audio
2.5
is
hours
awful.
from
Virgin
Heathrow.
Airlines in the back.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd sponsor it.
The thing is with the Americans though, it's like they drive 7 hours for a spot.
I know,
So
that's
if
what
they're
I'm
here,
saying,
they
like,
can drive
It's
2
only
hours.
it's
for a
only
little poddy.
max 3 hours.
True,
away
right.
from-
Yeah,
For a poddy, quick
yeah,
poddy.
little poddy. You want a quick poddy?
Can you talk to us about the SoleTech lab? I always found that like insane that you had that special custom-made laboratory for testing and stuff.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that we can, and Pierre always wanted to make sure that we made the best shoes.
Yeah.
So we got people from MIT, that's on the East Coast, that like focusing on biomechanics,
Yeah.
and we just created all these machines and testing.
Has anyone else done that within skateboarding
No.
or any?
I haven't seen it
snowboarding
within
or anything like
skateboarding, but no, we had everything from like the traction and grip control, the flex thing. We had an ollie machine that would like big wheel that would go around and like test the durability. A lot of it just kind of came out that there's skateboarding's I think it's a 7 stair. It's been a long time since I remember, but it's like a 7 stairs, like 18 times body weight.
Yeah.
So it's just obviously when you're jumping down that stuff all day long, it's just like a ton of it impact.
So was there like
So it's
sensors at the bottom of the stairs? So you could
We had a
measure
pressure
that?
plate built into the ground, so we'd
Yeah.
have Ryan Sheck like a little lab rat.
I always
like,
remember
dressed
seeing
up,
Sheckler
little
jumping down it,
ball
yeah.
balls hooked up and everything, and we just would zap him with one of those electric prodders, and he'd drop in and ollie onto
Cattle
this,
prod.
and ollie onto the pressure plate, and then it would measure the impact, and we'd be able to see with the body how it's all working. But it was really cool to have that.
So how did that then translate into making better products and actual becoming useful information? Was it?
It was like things like at the time, before that, it was like airbags, for example, were pretty big. But we found out that airbags, they bottom out. So when the airbag just goes all the way through, and so it doesn't really stop the impact going through the body. So we created the gel system for the shoes, and just different forms of polyurethane that insoles and midsoles that help the comfort and impact. on the shoes. But it's always the challenge with skateboarding because you don't want to compromise board feel and
fine line.
just overall control. But yeah, it was really cool though. People talk about the lab a lot. We used to have people come through and we used to show them everything going on.
It's mental, isn't it, having that much sort of measurable input into skateboarding?
Yeah.
Like I say, if you guys were the only ones doing that at the time. I thought DC might have done something like that at some point.
They had the snow lab.
Right.
Were there any like insights you garnered from the lab that like translated into like insights in actual skateboarding?
Yeah, it made me stop freestyling. I was like, wow, it's too much impact. That pogo. You're pogoing, on the tail.
You're rolling your ankle every time.
Yeah.
Did you get on
the
that
inside of your calf?
All
Like
that
kills
pressure.
you.
Did you get on that pressure plate and just do the pogos for a long time?
Yeah, I'd do jumping jacks and
Yeah.
see if I can drink beer and jump if it makes a difference.
Did it?
After 12, it definitely made a difference.
Can you still do a good pogo right now?
I haven't done a pogo for 20 years.
Well, you're going to do one today. He's got his board on him.
I was thinking about doing a whole series of like the roll up to El Toro and then just flip the board up and pogo down El Toro. Just to say that Don Brown did El Toro.
Yeah.
Cover Thrasher, roll up.
Imagine that like
Just hitting all the spots.
Imagine that photo.
Can you animate Don going down El Toro?
I'll do my best.
Imagine
We need
that
that for a shot.
ChatGPT.
Imagine that photo of fresh cover of Don, like middle step of El Toro, in like a pogo position.
NBD.
And what's really crazy is at the end, I'll tell everyone to give it the next bonus. I was doing it switch too, the pogo.
Oh,
Yeah, crazy.
never
right?
thought about switch pogo.
Switch pogo. No, you're thinking, you're like, what?
So would that be if you're regular footed, your right foot would be on the truck and your left foot would be at the top controlling the weight, or which way would you do a switch?
The right foot's on, for me, I'm goofy foot,
Yeah.
the supreme stance of the universe, but right foot goes on the truck. But you can do it either way, but it
Sorry,
depends.
goofy
Sometimes
foot
you
is
know.
the supreme stance of the universe.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
There's more goofy footed skateboarders than regular.
Actually, there's more regular.
Is there?
There's
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely more. We used to do we came up with that stupid concept of doing the goofy versus regular contest. And there was definitely more regular skaters. But again, like talking about the psychology of skateboarding, we talked about before we got on this podcast thing.
This thing.
This
It is
thing.
a thing.
It's literally what it
It's the
is.
thing.
Yeah, is that something to do with that?
I think so. Yeah, it almost feels like if you're a regular foot, you're different. You're I don't know, Tony Hawk and Mark Gonzalez, goofy foot.
Do you reckon it's any link to being left or right-handed?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't know.
I think it has
I'm just
zero to
throwing
do
it out
with
there. I'm just, my brain's going round. I'm
Because,
going back to
mate-
talking about ASMR within
Right.
skateboarding again.
Do you ever lay there at night worrying that you're not
Yes.
actually the foot stance that you are and that you've been skating the wrong foot stance your entire life?
No, because I can't skate switch to save my life.
Yeah, but what about if that's because you've trained yourself?
Well, when I started skating, my brother started skating and he was goofy footed and I was regular footed. Don't know
Interesting.
if that means anything.
No, not at all.
No, okay.
Well, at least I know that now.
Yeah. Now you can sleep finally. After
Yeah.
those years,
Is that all it takes? to
Cuddled
get
up
some
to me
sleep?
Don Brown pillow.
right? Oh, you have one too.
Yeah.
Is it life size?
Yeah.
Is he in mid pogo?
He's mid
So it's a
pogo.
freestyle ball coming down the
He's
bottom.
in mid pogo and he's got a rubber set of lips on it as well.
Oh my god! Oh, it's fucking hell.
It's silicone. It's no rubber.
Yeah.
You know, Don's been on the 9 Club several times, and then he's come here to do this, and he's just like, fucking those. He's
Yeah,
going to
but-
go back after what I've said about getting Kelly Hart on. And he's going to go, Kelly, just FYI, if you're ever going over
Right.
to the UK and these guys hit you up, steer clear of that. Block
Right.
them now.
Right. Never. Kelly would love to come on this.
Oh, I just want to sit him down and just talk about 4-on-1.
He's like skate nerd. He knows
Yeah.
everything. He knows every song to every
Yep.
part of it ever.
I'd love
I love
to
it.
geek
That's
out
like,
with him.
he's the best one on 9 Club.
Yeah.
Big up Kelly Hart.
Yeah. Kelly Hart, big up.
Damn.
Can you FaceTime him?
Yeah,
No, don't.
What time is it right now?
No, don't FaceTime him. Take the piss.
It's about 2:15.
In the morning, right?
No, don't do that. He's probably out skipping down the beach, isn't he, or something? That's what he does now, I'm assuming.
Probably.
Right. Can we talk about Tom Penny?
Yeah, I know you've been waiting for this. Not that we don't talk about Penny every single time we're on this show.
Right.
We're big Penny fans. There's no secret there. There was always that rumour, like, when Penny, he was blowing up, like, 95, 96, and then he disappeared off to France. There was a rumour that there was that, was it the Etnies Trek shoe? Was going to be his pro model, but then it came out as a separate Etnies shoe. Was there any truth in that? You're looking like I've just said lots of confusing words, and that's probably not the case.
Yeah, that Etnies Trek shoe was a good shoe.
It was a good shoe,
Very
but
good.
it was
Men's
kind of
Rick,
chunky, wasn't it? But I heard rumours that was going to be Penny's pro shoe, and then he.
No, he was wearing he was riding, and we got the picture of him skiing at Radlands.
Yeah.
In like a Columbia hiking boot. So he was wearing that, and that was kind of his inspiration for the Penny too, right here.
Yeah. Maybe that was just like the fans made up that rumour.
Yeah, they just. But it's weird that you said the Etnies Trek though.
Yeah, because it kind of was that chunkier kind of outdoor shoe with the round laces, you know, more like a hiking boot.
Yeah.
But that's what we all heard, and we were like, yeah, it makes sense. Because it just added to the mystique of Penny, didn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of mystique about Penny.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's why we love him.
Yeah.
Elusive character.
Yeah. He's, something else.
You're allowed to be when you've got that much natural talent. Which is interesting, right? When you look at skateboarders, like I look at Ed Templeton as someone that had to work really hard to get as good as he got. And Tom Penny is just flows out of his blood. It's just natural. Like I don't feel like Tom has ever tried being good. He's just, it just naturally happens.
That's what it seemed like on that session when I was with him. That like no matter what spot we went to, he'd just skate it and it'd be easy.
Yeah.
Like, and it was almost weird to see him like bail out of a trick.
He's a natural,
what I
isn't
mean?
he?
It
He's
was
just, he's got it without trying, which is...
You've always had that as well.
I mean, there's always that obsession with skateboarding, right? Where it's like you have to almost become addicted to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anyone in life. And I think it's just those things that overtakes the life to where it's just like, but there's certain people though that just have the natural ability to really take it to another level or to be able to think differently than everyone else.
I get the impression Penny's probably got that, could put his mind to anything, and you know, because he can speak a lot of languages.
I'm going to say that,
and he's kind of got he's got that mindset for learning, and
For sure,
I know he certainly knows his way around a skateboard, doesn't he, old Tom?
It's like Bastian Salabanzi.
Yeah.
That he is so talented at what he does, but I heard that he's got something called addictology or something like that. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
What, sorry?
Addictology, nothing to do with dicks, just addictology.
He's got that.
But it's where you just, anything, you can really get addicted to anything you do really easily once you put your mind to it. So it's just like, it's actually, if you look it up.
He's looking it up right now.
No, there it is. It's addictology. When he took up the guitar, in the 2000s or whatever. And I think within months, he was as good as Jimi Hendrix. And his fingers were completely worn out.
What a claim. What a claim.
Because he loved Jimi Hendrix. But I seriously think it was like, as far as just replicating his songs, but it's just that whole mental thing. But it's also why he smoked so much weed, because you can smoke as much weed as you want and you can wake up the next day. But with alcohol, he didn't touch alcohol. Because if, people with addictology, if it's a downward slope, you don't necessarily wake up the next day if you drink too much.
So is that the same as addictive personalities?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Addictology.
There was nothing on Wikipedia about addictology.
Fuck's sake.
The dick was uppercase too.
Yeah, I bet.
Addictology.
I mean, skateboarding does appeal to people with addictive personalities. I think there's an element there. You've got to have that kind of personality to get stuck in with it.
Yeah.
And, you kind of get that bug.
We see a lot of people that come in that don't have it, and you can tell they don't have it just by how much they commit to skating.
Yeah.
And if it's grey in the sky or it's a little bit too chilly, they're not going to go out. And
fair weather skaters.
Or you get the people that come here that, like, if they bail and it's not even bad, it writes off their whole day. They've not got that get up and go and just fight through the pain.
But it's like the Reynolds, like 3 taps of the board thing.
Yeah.
It's that OCD stuff. Like a lot of the best skateboarders. I mean, to be good at anything, you have to be hyper obsessed and addicted.
There has to be something there.
But then there's also the side of, I think, skateboarding that I've seen is a lot of the top skateboarders come from challenging upbringings and situations where skateboarding is actually their escape to get away from that, from what they've kind of come up from. I mean, Rodney Mullen's someone like that, has had very challenging parents that are very strict and
Yeah, the history of
controlling.
Mullen and his dad saying, after you've done this competition and you've won it, that's it.
Yeah, right.
Like, give it up. That's insane.
Yeah, so basically, if you have kids, you should tell your kid that. So it puts the pressure on to get even better.
Yeah. Words of wisdom
Right.
all over this episode.
Right. But it's kind of that thing of like, in a lot of cases, I feel it's in life, but it's either a lot of times you're running from something or to something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times, for me, I was kind of running away from the family because my family were great drinkers. And it was just kind of just a weird kind of environment to grow up with, just shouting and screaming and drunkenness or whatever, which taught me to be a really good drunk later on in life, but a controlling drunk.
Especially doing pogos on a...
Drunk pogos.
Yeah.
So you were drunk when you did it down El Toro?
Yeah, it was crazy.
You don't drink anymore, do you?
No, I gave it up.
Yeah. Well done, that's good.
How long for?
15 months.
And how do you feel? In a nutshell.
It's clear. Things are a little bit clearer.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Brain damage. But it's something, one of those things that being English, we're really good at drinking. And it's just part of the culture, right? You just learn from a young age.
Yeah.
Puking up Pernod on Farmer Ramp.
Yeah.
But then you go to America and they're all wimps out there. They just drink, low alcohol beer and get hammered really
Everything's
quickly.
in stubbies.
Yeah.
Tiny beers.
So I've been blessed with the ability to drink a lot, but still deal with it. I always know there's a tomorrow, do you know what I mean? And I can always just cut off.
Yeah.
But wake up with a couple of hours sleep and get that sales meeting done or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few times I got thrown in the slammer or whatever, but police or whatever.
What, in the States?
Yeah, and then, but still made the
Still
meeting
made
the
the
next
meeting.
morning by 8 o'clock.
How was your night? Yeah, it was all right.
That was all right. Pretty mellow. Sorry, my hair's a little messy right now. So. The best one was in San Diego. I was like caught running over cars, like, and I went and San Diego is a pretty crazy jail because it's like there's a lot of just like gangs and stuff down there, and they throw you in these drunk tanks and they keep you moving to like just keep you awake. So they change rooms, and I went into the big room. And there's this big crowd of people around, someone in the middle, and it was Sean Sheffy. And everyone was like in a circle. No, he was like sitting on this little wall thing, and there's like 10 people like just bowing down to like listening to skate stories from Sean Sheffy.
Fucking hell, I bet that was
And this had to be like 3 a.m. in the morning, and everyone was just like coming down from it, drinking all night or whatever, and just
Sheffy there.
being there for a reason of something. And then, this weird. I even went to jail with my wife once. In Laguna for a Christmas party. That was a fun one.
You had a Christmas party in jail?
No, he had a Christmas party and ended up in jail.
Right.
We both were there. So
And Sean Sheffy was there again, saying
He
Christmas
wasn't.
stories.
He was actually the guard at the front. Sean Sheffy's incredible. Talking about skateboarders, like, he's had a complete transformation from being the wildest person that you just weren't sure about, about being around. When he would drink, he would just go insane. Today, like, he's like fully sober and just like the most genuine, nicest person in the whole world. And he can still do switch 50-50s down 10, 11 stairs.
I like his fakey ollies over the picnic benches. And
It's like wild man, right?
Yeah.
Just like, but it's so stylish.
Sheffy's always been
We need another. We do need another Sheffy in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Missing it. There's no Sheffy right now.
that's another thing we talk about is the iconic figures. There's not a lot of that, is there? No.
He called me a dirty fuck once at Radlands.
I mean, it's true, right?
Yeah.
He loves bringing that. No, Toby is one of the working with him day in day out, hearing some of Toby's old stories. He's the dirtiest fuck I've ever met.
Thanks.
But you remember when Sheffy was whipping the crank with the headphones with Slam City? Or was that? I don't think it was on 4-on-1.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
It was wild. Like that 80s. No, sorry, not 80s, 90s. I think, like, I talk about this, like anyone that was in skateboarding from a pro or industry person that got through the 90s had the best time that will ever be seen in skateboarding. Because the whole industry had money. There was no competition. Like, we all made the same categories, but the same products. Everyone was friends. Everyone was just living life and just going nuts. And it was incredible. But now it's just that whole thing. It's just no one's got any money. Everyone's just like, it's been corporatized.
Yeah.
No one wants to make a mistake to get cancelled. It was just like, do whatever you want. It's complete anarchy, the 90s. And And that's why I think the 90s was probably the best period ever for skateboarding.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of the catalyst of fashion and innovation in skateboarding and technical skateboarding going big. And just the people that came out of that they all need a bronze statue across the board. That's all people really care
Just for
about.
surviving the 90s.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked I lived through that. Like, it was nice to, looking back, 95, 96.
Let's bring it back.
Go back in time.
No, let's just bring it back.
If you had a time
Let's get
machine,
wild.
what year would you go back to benefit from skateboarding?
Probably 90s.
Yeah.
Probably
If you got a time machine, though, can you only go back to the years that you were actually alive, or can you go back before?
Fucking hell.
Because if it was
I
before, I'd stop
don't know
you.
the rules of time machine.
Because-
Can you chat GPT rules of time
Because
machine?
with questions like that, I would go back in time to stop you from being born and asking questions like this on a podcast in 2024.
Fuck's sake. Right, can we talk about the Nidecker situation and all of that stuff?
Yeah.
Give us a little rundown on that, because obviously a lot of people know about it. It's out there, but
Yeah.
Nidecker has come in and bought
Yeah.
Emerica, Etnies, and
32.
32.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of just the way this industry has evolved. If we talked about, right, it's like it used to be that Etnies S Emerica at the very, very beginning were probably like 70, maybe even 80% of all the shoe business at one point. And then obviously other brands like Osiris and DVS and DC and everyone came in. They're all, all kind of scare own brands or whatever. Seeing the success that we were having, they started making shoes and we all grew together. And collectively, the industry was probably $1 billion. And everyone was having a great time. And that's what I was talking about. The 90s is the best time ever because everyone was making money. It was all good. And then as the bigger brands started seeing that skateboarding was this whole demographic of kids that were like had something different, that were connected to street culture, that were just interesting versus the traditional rigidity of normal sports. They started really paying attention, and they started seeing also all these upstarts, all these brands, and for them, they also don't like it when they see potential future competition coming in. That's like, well, these guys could be a threat. But more importantly, they wanted to just get involved with stuff, to be involved with the youth, because they know that when you got the youth market, they're going to grow with your brand. And so they didn't like us being a big part of the youth world and potentially growing with them. So yeah, so they, as it got to 2000, like, so 1999, X Games, Tony Hawk 900, blew everything up. X Games has gone into 300 million households globally, so it's just skateboarding was everywhere.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk, PlayStation, again, Musker, Alyssa, Costin, all those guys became household names because every kid was on a video game playing that rider. So everything was blown up then. And then, again, that's when the big guys started really paying attention. And then Nike specifically had always seen, they've always tried to get in skateboarding, but it always failed. And that whole industry was always like, whatever, they're going to fail again. They can never do it. And that's where they had a trade show, and it's such like the weightlifting manager or whatever was overseeing that, the skateboard category or whatever. And it's when they had like Pat Shanita and Choppy Omega and just amazing skateboarders, but it just didn't have any like vibe really.
Where's Choppy Omega at?
Burnside. Remember Choppy? It was like a Burnside
Yeah.
local.
I've not heard the name for ages, but I know the name.
Who was the kid who was on the firm and was on Nike in the first run?
Matt Field.
No, he's from...
Matt Beach, sorry, not Matt Field.
No,
Matt Beach,
there's
that's
someone
right.
who skated at Burnside.
Wasn't Choppy Omega?
No, quite a young dude. But I remember him being on Nike. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I remember Bam.
Because
So Bam, the funny thing with Bam is
Bam was the first person on Nike as the program of Nike skateboarding, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is he loved the SXL, and he used to get the XL, and
still
then
skates
it cut
them?
the swoosh off of the Nikes that he had, and it glue him on the side of the SXL, so you could skate in them.
Did he send you photos of it? Is that
No.
is that-
Because you remember those photos where it was like, what happened if we treated other sports the same as skateboarding?
Yeah,
And it ends with the kickflip at the end. That's Bam doing the kickflip,
that was a good
which I think is
question.
pretty cool
Yeah.
that he was the first person on that. What was Nike before it was Nike Skateboarding?
Savia. Yeah.
Tim O'Connor had the shoe on then.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? That was actually all funded by Nike because they actually. So it's crazy the lengths that they had to try and do to try and get into skateboarding because they were so uncool. So anyway, so they were doing their thing, and then they decided to realize that skateboarding and street culture were really tightly entwined, and they had Sandy Bodecker come in, and he connected the dots with Stussy and did work with those guys and built that team. So then it started slowly getting some momentum, and they started investing a ton of money. And as things got bigger every season, they got bigger. And then by 2002, like, I don't know, in that 2002, 2004 or whatever, that's when the trends had shifted. So S was on top before that. And then, because it was all puffy shoes, athletic, sporty or whatever, and then Rowley came in and hit the Staples like Hubba thing, the LA Convention Center, in a pair of like little vulcanized shoes with no padding, and it just kind of killed the whole vibe of we're trying to push technology for $100 or whatever over here, and he's coming in with a pair of shoes.
Showing you
it
don't
costs
need
45, that. 45 pounds or whatever, and then it kind of just, the trends changed to piss trunks and everything, so then skinny trousers and black Johnny Rockets looking Reynolds, Greco, that shifted the whole trend in skateboarding. So that's when Vans really started to pick up and they found themselves. So, and then by 2008, there was a major economic recession, and that's when we got really affected because the competition was getting stronger as we were just kind of trying to internally kind of struggle to like downsize to the realistic size we needed to. So that's the hard thing with the business. It's easy to go up, but it's really hard to go down. So from 2008 onwards, we kind of went down in sales every year, but we kept trying to invest back into skateboarding and doing whatever we could to support the riders and the scene and the community. And Pierre was selling off anything they had made in the past to try and keep that support going and support skateboarding. But then, every time it was the hope of it's going to turn around and it's going to start going back up, but it was just like gambling or whatever, it just going down and down. But the industry over the past few years, COVID blew up skateboarding, and then afterwards there was a horrible kind of hangover of like, oh shit, everyone's got too much product, no one wanted to buy. So then sales had retracted, not just for us but the whole industry. But because we were a little bit more vulnerable, it really hit us hard to where the debt started accumulating more and more, and it got to the point where Pierre didn't have the money to be able to pay for future shipments to come in. And it was on the challenged position of like, well, it's the only way of keeping these brands going at this point is to get investment or to have someone buy the brands. So it became where he'd already been in discussion with the Nidecker family. It's a family that has been around for 137 years. They're privately owned, they're a family-owned business. They snowboard, they skate, they're young, and they were kind of the best option. But they'd been in discussion with 32 because they loved 32. It's the best snowboard boot brand out there. And they wanted that, but it became, the discussion expanded into like, well, you can get 32, but we need help with Emerica and Etnies to like support these brands to keep them going forward. So they ended up, buying the brands from Pierre. Not the ideal situation of where we all thought this was going to end, but it's out of the situation of where we are today, not just us, but the whole industry. It's without doubt the best situation. The Nideckers, and I'm not just saying this, but they are really good people with good hearts who really care about the brands and want the best to happen for them. So that's where we are. So the transition's been happening through this year since June. They're just trying to get their heads around everything. Obviously, the brands weren't profitable, and the demand had been kind of just lower, just based on the overwhelming forces. I mean, we're dealing with multi-billion-dollar corporations now with unlimited budgets that really don't give a shit about skateboarding or the culture. They just want to take over and own a demographic. Versus really care about skateboarding. So Yeah, for us, it's been a good move, and we just came out of a sales meeting in Amsterdam and with all the reps and distributors from around the world, and everyone's really excited about just the opportunity of what we can do now to actually invest in the brands and refresh with the strategies to just make sure we're there for the skate community around the world.
Yeah,
and around people to represent the core spirit of skateboarding, you know, which is kind of missing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be nice to see people wearing Emerica and Etnies a bit more when you go out skating, rather than the other ones. I don't want to talk shit on anyone, but yeah.
And that's the thing that, and I know I said a lot, though it's kind of repetitive on the night from what I've said in the nightclub or whatever, but it's just, I've never been mad at the big guys for doing what they're doing. It's just what they do. That's their job, is to like seize market share.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And attack the competition, and you know what I mean, do other stuff. That's just business. It's a capitalistic society we live in, and it's up to, that's what they do. They got to grow and they got to do what they got to do. So it's up to us to find ourselves of what's the relevance for us in today's marketplace. And it's kind of like the Lakai situation for me, when, you know, I think the whole skate community, when they heard the Lakai thing, it's just like, it hurts. It hurts because it's Rick and Mike have contributed and given so much to the skate community and made skateboarding what it is, purely from the fun and the heart, the creativity, and just made skateboarding so incredible. So then to hear it's kind of gone to someone it's kind of soulless.
It's like no skateboarding background.
Yeah, it's kind of like we've seen the graveyard of shoe brands out there.
Yeah,
you know, the Audios and whatever, the PTSs and whatever other crazy ass brands there was out there.
Yeah, it is a shame about Lakai. What was that thing they posted the other day? It's like the new Flare or something like that.
Right, that thing got
just like,
eaten.
that's kind of insulting, isn't it? Like,
well, they did a post that said the new Nick,
something like that.
Nick will know about this.
Yeah, they want to invest in influencers and that kind of thing, as opposed to, and they're talking about bringing on younger team, but you've got to have someone there who's actually going to know who to hire. So
it's at the same time, who knows? I mean, maybe it's going to work. I mean, when you think about it, say Levi's as a brand, they've been around for so many years, and they're a respectable brand. I think any of us would wear Levi's, but it's not like any of us sit there going, "Did you hear the CEO just changed? Fuck Levi's. I'm never wearing Levi's again." Maybe we're just at that point of how big skateboarding is, that 80% of their customers don't really give a shit about who's behind the brand. They just say, yeah, I like this shoe and it feels comfortable and it's a good price and I can get it from TK Maxx on sale.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't care. And it's just where we are.
Maybe a lot of kids don't now, but I feel like there's still that age gap because a lot the shoe companies are made by the skateboarders that you grew up watching and then you want to back it. And like kids now in like 5-10 years, if Lakai's still going, they don't know Mike Carroll and Rick Howard are anyway now. Yeah. So it's like there'll still be kids coming in going, "Oh, Lakai's a good shoe,"
right?
But they won't know that it's a skateboarder own shoe.
The different, but the other thing is it's got like skateboarding's got like a layers of protect, like the guards almost of the spirit. So it's like the retailers straight away. I started seeing shops canceling Lakai orders or just already like, "Oh, fuck you guys, I'm over it." And I see it in the comments on that post the other day. It's like I see the retailers and the whole industry people going, "It's never going to work without Rick and Mike. Like, screw you guys." So it's going to be interesting to see if they pull it off.
And if they go in a direction of like influencers,
it just sounds like shit.
It's going like how Karayuma was.
You two are influencers. Maybe they should hire you.
He's an influencer.
You're always in Lakai's as well.
I'm not wearing
They should pay you $1 million for the brain drain. Sure.
Honestly, it doesn't take a lot to buy us out.
We'll put Lakai logos on everything,
right?
We'll get them tattooed as little teardrops like Jeremy Rogers.
That'd be brilliant.
I saw Jeremy Rogers popped up in that thing about PJ.
He's been skating a bit, hasn't he? And his comments on his Instagram are him saying like, "I'm getting back on it."
Nothing better than hearing someone like that say, "Get back on it."
I want to get back on it. Like, has he made a living out of his rap music? Because I'm sorry, Jeremy, it's fucking dreadful. Like, It is, like, isn't it? It's like, but do you follow his Instagram? Fucking hell, sometimes he'll just bang up a live.
Yeah,
it's like
unreal.
some girl naked twerking on him and he's like, Jake Casanova. And I'm like, all right, this makes your music better. But Jeremy fucking Rogers, just imagine, like, back in the day, Jeremy Rogers, Ryan Gallant, PJ Ladd.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
fucking, the king of freestyle, Dave Vay from Boston. Colin Fisk.
What a fucking legend.
Alexis Sablone.
Right.
Legendary.
All of them.
So what is the plan for the next like 18 months, 2 years with all the brands? Is it just kind of going back to core stores?
Yeah, there's definitely they love the core
Yeah.
skate shops.
And you're still heavily involved in it as
Yeah,
well.
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
So what is your role now within? And like in my head, it's always SoleTech, but is it now? Are you just? Is it the Nidecker Group? Is that
It's like it's NDK Skate.
right?
So it's just kind of an abbreviation for that.
Yeah.
Everyone still says SoleTech. You can't help it, you know.
It's been there for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of it's like because I've been the face of the brand for so long. It's kind of just almost like the brand soul, almost of just being making sure it's going in the right directions. And stuff,
Yeah.
You know? And then helping on certain projects, like the key focus on the key retailers or team strategies,
Like the riders and videos and
yeah,
PJ
and then yeah, exactly.
I don't think PJ Ladd's been mentioned more.
I can do it more.
You got to get him on the show.
Oh, I'd love to imagine that. That'd be so
PJ.
mellow.
It only seems like recently over the last 6 months he's been sitting down talking to people.
Yeah,
on
you've never
interviews.
really seen him talk too much. So
Yeah,
it's-
it does not happen.
Yeah.
I'd be too afraid to get him on because I'd feel like you said, he's already calculated everything.
It'd
No
be
matter what
one
you
step
ask
ahead.
him, yeah, I don't know. Couldn't do it. I'd shit myself.
Would you?
Yeah, I've done it now.
Has Penny messaged back? Is he going to FaceTime us?
No, he
Oh,
hasn't.
fucking hell. Blown it.
So did we fully go into that then with your roles and what you're doing there before?
Yeah,
I
so
chat to you,
there's still a lot of stuff to get defined, but there's a lot of things that need to get worked out and strategies and how we're going to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the challenge is the overall skateboarding's in a whole different place that we kind of been talking about, and it's really hard. Like between like team rider strategies or what are the things that really make things desirable and sell these days. Obviously we're committed to skateboarding and the riders, but how do you we're seeing like the big guys are kind of all struggling too. Or even talking about Cariuma, they were spending $1 to $2 million a month in digital advertising.
Fucking hell.
They were spending $6 million on their team of surf and skate, a year. So they're spending millions of dollars, but it didn't do anything. And now they're like pulling out because it didn't. So how can you spend that much money? So it just makes you question a lot of things. People need a deeper purpose behind a brand, like a reason to buy it, not just like,
That's what I mean. I feel like with Cariuma, it started off on a bad foot anyway.
Yeah.
Like it started off bad, didn't it? It was never like.
I mean,
Don't- I
shit
don't-
from day one.
I don't think it was like a desirable footwear brand from the moment it came out, and that's just because skateboarders don't know who's involved in it and the avenues that they went down. They went to like poaching people on companies and just getting people that did good at competitions and your influencers, and your core skateboard market don't care for any of it. It's just all bullshit.
But that's to that point. It's I actually like the strategy of like high reach, low image, but it didn't work. So that makes you think that it's the views and all that stuff. It's more about quality over quantity in everything we do right now. We've kind of got stuck in this world of there's just too much hitting us all the time.
Yeah.
It's got to have something
Overload.
that has remarkability that's just really remarkable in whatever you see to comment. It's like, I don't know if you guys are the same, but we live in this weird world of like everything's got to be really quick now. And when I started watching the honeymoon Dickies video,
Yep.
I was like, this thing, was it 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Hour?
Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday.
I froze for a second going, I don't know if I have that much time in my life to spend on anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to, and then it's like, and I kept like, even when it's going, I'm like, okay, when's like, how fast can
I skipped through quite a bit of it.
I was hoping they could put it on 3 times versus 2 times speed just to get through it. But no, it's like, it was an incredible video, but it just made me feel like, and then, you know, it feels like 10, 11 minutes is the most a video should be now.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoke about it a lot before, like what determines a full length now. So someone's like, new full length video out and it's 17 minutes. And I'm still used to that, like when videos were like an hour plus and you could sit there and actually watch them all.
Yeah.
It's different times though, isn't it? Like everything's changed now.
But I think you could only do that because that's all you had, because the internet was still a little bit shitty. So you'd go out and get like a skate DVD. And the longer it was, the better, because you were like, oh, more value for money.
Right.
And now you're watching it and you're like, I could be making money by the time I finish watching this 35-minute skate video.
Right.
No,
how long was the polo video that came out of the weekend?
I think it's
17
like
minutes.
17 minutes. But even then, that played at the Skateboard GB event yesterday. And I was like, I ain't got time to watch that.
This is it, isn't it?
And I went back and watched Inglourious Bastards on TV, and that's like 2.5 hours.
The way that skateboarding content is delivered, I think, has got to change, because it's too much. And that is making it's so diluted and nobody's got time for it. But so how do you focus kids and consumers into stuff? Oh, fuck knows.
I think it's still.
And whoever works that out will.
I think it's still out there. You've still got your crews that like to make videos and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm talking more on the business side of things. You're like, that's rad. You know, that's always going to be part of skating. There's always going to be crews making scene videos and doing that. But how do you market and create content for a brand that is efficient and direct to who you want to sell it to? Mm-hmm. Because right now there's so much going on. I mean, every fucking day on Thrasher there's a new full length this.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
I don't know, and whoever works that out, and by the time you work that out, it would have changed again,
right?
And it will be something else, you know.
Damn, Toby just went off on.
Does that make sense though, or was that me just talking?
No,
circles?
it does make sense. But it's that thing of skateboarding, isn't it? It's so vast. There is no correct answer.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Just gotta go with
because
it.
it's always changing and adapting, and there's no answer.
I also think that skateboarding's it's smaller than I think people think it is. Like, it's as much as it's so big in the mainstream, people know about it, but I don't necessarily think they're actually buying skateboarding stuff. And it's like that. And again, I haven't looked at it for a little bit, but that honeymoon video when it was on Thrasher, when I looked at it, I don't know if you can find it out now, but it was 400,000 views at the time that I saw it
on YouTube.
Yeah, and to me, if you're a core skateboarder, you're guaranteed you're going to watch that video. Yeah. And that was the only place they had it.
It's got 500,000 views.
Okay, so you're up to 500,000. But if you're a skateboarder, a core skateboarder, you're going to watch that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
just see what
does that mean that there's
the top
only
comment is bring back full length videos like this. This is what we need. So there's clearly a demand for it. That's like the most likely comment.
But then sorry to interrupt, but like that comment there. But is that somebody who is buying skateboard product, or is that somebody who's like
watching full lengths on YouTube?
Yeah, you just. What's intervals on? How many views has that got?
I feel like that's going to pull in more because it's a footwear brand as well, isn't it? Like,
I'd just be interested.
We did a TJ Rogers TGI
TGI Friday.
TJ,
are you telling us you want to go to TGI Friday?
Yeah, it was like a TGIF or whatever the hell it was. But his one got like 400,000 or 500,000 by just the solo video of him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like maybe it just doesn't get in the algorithm. But at Thrasher, you'd think that every core skater is checking out Thrasher. Every guy's going to know about that video. Every skate shop is going to be playing it. And that's the thing, it's probably been played multiple times by skate shops all around the world. But it was only 500,000 views. To me, that's nothing for how many skateboarders are in the world.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at, again, went to that exposure skate, all those in Senizergues, and there's all these incredible girls ripping. I'm thinking, not one of those girls probably gives a shit about either of the new videos that came out. They're just into their own little world of like, I'm just going to go skate. I'm going to go learn switch fives and be happy. And I don't need to look at Thrasher. And I don't need to look
Imagine having that mentality. I'm just going to go learn switch fives. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's certainly interesting times. And yeah, I mean, you know, there's people that don't watch anything and just go skating. And I guess that's all you can do, isn't it? Just go skating.
Right.
I don't really watch that much.
Go skating and don't be a cunt.
Anyway.
That's in the average age of honeymoon. You can see I really broke this in. Guess how much what the average age of?
It's got to be like 42 or something.
No, it's
like
not 42, but
The average age of what?
of all of the skateboarders combined, if you average that out for honeymoon, Dickie's video,
Don't know. What is it?
it's like 29 and 30,
Right.
which I remember seeing Per Wellender
Yeah.
skateboard back in the day, and he was 30, and I was like, that's so incredible. I was looking at him like grandpa, like that's incredible that someone that old is still skateboarding,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was unheard of from any other generation that someone would skateboard at 30. And now you got people in there, like you've still got Christian
people-
Asoi, Tony Hawk, all these guys, late 50s, 60s.
You got
Yeah,
people
yeah.
going
Killing it,
pro
so.
at like 32, 33,
Right.
34 now, where Jason
Yeah.
Lee retired at 21 or
Right.
22 or something.
Yeah. So it's like skateboarding as a whole has just aged, but it's not like it's regressed in what people are doing. The top skateboarders in the world right now are 29, 30. And that's what's basing the image around what's hot or not.
You know, 20 years ago, what was the top age of skateboarders? Like 17s, 18s, 19s, 22-year-olds.
But it's because the other generations have just kind of dropped off and had to get real jobs or whatever and just faded away. But now it's like it's such a big part of culture where you can actually keep it going.
Why am I here?
Why are you here?
Yeah, why am I here?
Because Toby made a massive error.
Toby's
many
taking
years
his mask
ago.
off.
This
This is what Toby really looks like.
So right now, yeah, Toby's a skinwalker, and this is what he's looked like the whole time.
That's it,
The
skinny-
very handsome
skinny
Nick
guy.
Warman.
Hello.
So welcome Nick Warman to
Wow.
the show. This is the first time I've actually had a different presenter on, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of like it.
It's nice.
I kind of like it.
Feels natural.
I don't feel like my arms need to be crossed. I need to be on the defence because Toby's under the table with his little knife stabbing me, telling me to shut up.
You just never had a guest that bored Toby so much that he had to leave because he was falling asleep and bring in a stunt double.
That is true. We've had to bring in the reserves.
Yeah. Well, here I look at this on the table. I was instantly offended the moment I sat down. Sit down. Just says wanker, and it's pointing directly at Toby stroke me.
Yeah, because Toby wrote something to me.
Toby stroked me. And it says, wanker.
So Nick Warman on the show, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Don't
So here I
freeze
am.
up now.
Oh God. Well, you just mentioned off camera, really interestingly, Don, you were talking about, obviously you've just been fighting cancer. And when did that start, and how did you find out that you had it?
Probably it's just over a year ago, and I just had a blood test. And
The PSA test.
Yeah, PSA test. Yeah, and it came up.
Was you
Pretty high.
Was you like feeling anything, or
No,
because
not
if
at
you're
all,
quite in
no.
tune with your body, you can kind of feel.
Not really. I mean, maybe a little bit. There may have been something intuitively there, but it wasn't like I had any kind of restrictions on it or any kind of weird feelings anyway.
So you didn't. But what drove you to have that test in the first place?
Well, once you get ancient like me, then you just.
So you just had
So
one of those
when you're
standard
45 plus,
Yeah.
you need to have all your tests, the colonoscopies and all that crap anyway. And then I actually had it a little bit later. I had the colonoscopy when I was like 50 something, and then I had the blood test. A little bit later, the blood test was, I was supposed to have it, but COVID kicked in, so I was like, I didn't want to be hanging out in any kind of medical kind of places, so I just figured I'd wait. And then after COVID, I went and got the blood test, and then it came up pretty high.
It's interesting that you found well, it's actually quite lucky that the way you found it, it actually showed that it was high, because what you can have with, that I've heard that you can have with prostate cancer is the PSA measurements can still be within like the safety levels. But if they've spiked in comparison to your earlier amounts of PSA, so say you were tracking it over a 10-year period or something like that, and it started to track up, it might be a sign that you've got it. But if you actually take it in isolation, that might not be way off the charts, so you might not even realize you've got it. So the fact that you went and you had it tested and there it was, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the key, I think that's why I want to bring it up is too, is just because I think it's important for all of us to get tested, because cancer wasn't a word in our family really. So it's something that that was more the mental thing for me. It was just like, oh shit, like I thought I was invincible.
And you caught it
Yeah, I got
early,
it.
or
Early, yeah, pretty early. So it's like, and that's the key to cancer, is getting it early. So just make sure everyone out there gets tested
yeah.
when it's time, 45 plus. But then also just think about what you're eating. The diet, I think, plays a lot. And not that I was eating badly, but I think it has an effect on expediting what you may have if you got the gene or whatever that can create cancer. But it's just being mindful of, you know, what you put in your body and what you're doing, and also it kind of shows that life's kind of unpredictable. Just go live it up, enjoy yourself, and don't take things so seriously. You know.
Yeah, completely.
What was the treatment for it, and how long did that last?
The treatment was, I didn't have to do any of the chemo or anything, so I got it early. It's just surgery.
Yeah.
Just cut it out.
Chemo's horrible. My mum had cancer, and chemo's just like, you just see people whittle away from it.
Yeah.
It's like
horrible.
a war of attrition between like the cancer cells and your normal body cells, and it's like whichever's going to go first. So yeah, if you can avoid chemo, if you're early enough, that.
Yeah.
So did they take out a chunk of your prostate or all of
They
your
took
prostate?
it all out.
Oh, okay, right.
Made prostate tacos.
Nice.
It was delicious with hot sauce.
Now you can like
It's delicious.
we unimpeded as well.
Right. I recommend. I mean, it was so easy. I'm thinking about doing it again. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's your thing now.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
But I think a lot of guys they avoid doing it simply because they're told it's going to be like as they call it, like a digital exam, and it's whoop, straight up there, round, and it's like, I've had it. It's a pretty shocking experience.
Yeah.
But like people, they're a bit more worried about that. But if you're like, well, actually, it's like a blood test, then
Yeah, it's a blood test. That's where they find it. But
We'll make sure everyone listening out there gets your blood test.
right.
yeah,
Is it business as usual now, or
Pretty much, yeah. My new name's Donna.
What was
I
the
look great in a mini skirt.
what was the recovery time like for that? Like so after the op?
I had the operation in August. I'm out and about now. I just didn't really exercise a lot because you got to get back into regular routines for a few months after.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty good.
It's definitely one to watch out for. So
Yep.
yeah.
Well, glad that you found it and you got it sorted. That's fucking drastic. If you even left it like another year or two,
Yeah.
would have been drastic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was already drastic because the fact that you had it, but at least you found it.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, TJ Rogers,
He
had
brought out a
testicular.
full video part whilst he was battling cancer as well.
Yeah.
That's what I read. He had cancer at the time that he was filming those video parts.
Yeah,
his latest
That's
part.
incredible.
He's incredible. I mean, he went through the chemo and the whole deal. And I went to visit him at the hospital, and he was checking out skate spots over the road. You know what I mean? It's
Like
just
looking out the window. Someone said to me the other day that if you stop skating, or no matter how old you get, they were like, "Do you think that you're just always going to think about spots?" And I was like, "You are."
I think you're never going to not.
It doesn't, even if I'm going shopping with my missus, there's like a flat bar outside the Audi.
Yeah.
I'm like, could just squeeze a 50-50 on that if I actually tried.
Right.
It's
If it
never
wasn't
gonna
freezing cold and wet out.
Yeah.
right.
Do you have any more questions for our star guest here?
Well, how's about who's your favourite Nidecker?
Oh,
Three of them,
shit.
isn't there? I met Henry.
Yeah.
He's like a big dude. He was like a really nice guy. I've not Cedric as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Xavier.
Yeah.
So you got a favourite Nidecker?
I mean, I couldn't really say which one. They're all kind of different personalities.
Yeah.
Henry's kind of more on the business side of things, more numbers.
Yeah.
And just always, you can tell he's always thinking. And then Xavier's more the strategist in the middle kind of age group. And then Cedric is the young, energetic kind of sales side.
I heard
things.
he was trying
Super
the
cool guy.
handrail at the park when you guys were out in Amsterdam. So like he's proper
Yeah,
good
so
skater.
so it's again, it's like they just love the brands, they love skateboarding, they love snowboarding, and that's why I think couldn't be any better person to come in and kind of take the brands and take it to the next level.
It definitely feels like out of like all the fates of the different skate shoe brands that we've seen. So like DVS got licensed to Elan Polo, now it's with BBC. You've got like the whole Lakai debacle at the moment. Like DC's been licensed, the whole board riders lot. I think there's something like 55 licensees. So it's just what a mess. But
What footwear brand was it that went to like K-Swiss or something?
Supra.
That's right.
That was like well, it wasn't K-Swiss. It was the company that owned K-Swiss, and that was like a big South Korean conglomerate. And then Supra just got lost in the mix and disappeared. So there's all these brands have just kind of fallen by the wayside. But Nidecker buying like the SoleTech brands feels like absolutely the best
possible
100%.
outcome.
Yeah. Good people, good passion for the brands, and then just integrity.
Yeah.
And everything they've done with the snow business is really respected, highly respected. From a lot of innovations of the overall ski industry and snowboarding and boots. They got this incredible binding. They've just innovated and put to market, which is crushing it.
And they've been hiring a lot of new guys to come and work for you guys who are like ex Nike and ex DC employees.
Yeah, we're stealing back from them.
I like that. That was good.
Now we can get all the trade secrets on that end.
Well, it's nice to hear that they're getting people in and not letting countless amounts of people go.
Yeah.
Which is also a good sign.
There's been shifts here and there with stuff that just, whether there's roles that were just duplicated or whatever, and we know we got to refresh things and keep moving forward. And there's going to be changes. This whole industry is just, in a condition that's, we've never seen it before. Mm-hmm. So it's something we just got to do what we can do to protect the brands and keep continuing to invest back into skateboarding and keep the core spirit alive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, you're talking about there's an awful lot of brands these days. Do you think that are you thinking not so much in footwear, but we talking board brands? There's so many, and it sort of has diluted it to an extent.
Yeah.
Is that if because back in the day you had bigger brands, say Flip and Element and Plan B, and they'd work in tandem with the endemic skate brands like you guys and Globe and stuff like that, and it was more cohesive.
Yeah.
But these days there's an awful lot of sort of garage brands, which is obviously everyone's right to make, but does it dilute it so no one can make decent money out of board brands, so you just end up with loads of them?
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's just saturation and over choice, and it's hard to navigate through the kind of the sea of kind of all the brands out there. I mean, even you mentioned earlier about we were even talking about riders today that you guys don't even know the names of or haven't heard of or whatever, and they're just some of the best skateboarders in the world, but they're just not on the radar.
I had a thought with that. Do you think we actually need to, when you were talking about them earlier, you're saying there's just all these amazing Japanese dudes, can't remember their names. You can remember Yuto because that's pretty short, succinct.
Yeah.
Do we need to go back to nicknames? Like it used to be, you had the Musket and Bam and people like that. Is that to make these dudes marketable? Is that what you need to do?
Maybe, yeah. Have a stage name.
Isn't there a tradition in Asia where they a lot of the Asian people take a Western name when they
certainly
come over?
all the Hong Kong guys who've come over here, they all have they have.
So maybe we should introduce that to the Asian skate scene and see if it brings them a little bit more fame in the West.
Any more questions? Do you want to end it on that?
I mean, that subject of the saturation, though, that is something. So one thing was, it's just there's brands out there. So there's the brands that every. It's weird the way that it works in skateboarding, right? Because a lot of the young kids, their goal in life is to become sponsored.
Yeah.
So their whole dream is to become sponsored. Mm-hmm. It's almost like once they get sponsored, a lot of them are just okay, I got sponsored, I can do something else now. Mm-hmm. But then even then it's that next step of I want to create my own company. So it's just
yep.
But then it's easy to create a board company and just get wood and find a way of screening it or putting a print.
There's no barrier to entry,
or whatever,
it's
right?
Like making a t-shirt.
You actually can, if you're in a local small community, is just make your own board brand, and it's kind of cool in a way to be able to do that. And it's just all your friends having a little skate gang or whatever.
Yeah.
And skate shops, they used to be the big thing of no shop boards or no blank. It's just there shouldn't be any rules in skateboarding, but I actually like the fact for shops to have their own shop boards, just because they are the reason that skateboarding really exists in that area, because they're the catalyst for everyone there, and they're the ones that are out there supporting new entry skateboarders. They're there finding
the new kids, which is feeding them into the whole industry. Yeah,
they're the voice of the community. So I think it's up to the shops already have become brands, and the brands have become shops. You know what I mean, so it's all everyone's their own media. So it's just everything's one thing now. So I think it's okay to do that. But it's the one thing that I think people need to think about, though, is that if you're going to come out with something, just make sure it's something unique and different and not the same as what already exists, because no one's looking for stuff that already exists. and I'm seeing that with shoe brands that are launching right now, that they're not offering anything different to the marketplace. So it's just like, why does anyone need it? And it's a huge investment in shoes.
Yeah, although you and I were talking about it earlier, the fact that you can basically amortize the cost of the sole unit per pair of shoes from the factory these days does seem to like lower that barrier to entry. So then you are seeing more of these kind of like almost generic looking Volk shoes that have like maybe like a couple of pro names behind them, and maybe they've kind of like uprated the quality here and there, but it's not got anything anywhere near as unique as say like an S shoe or an Etnies or something like that you like, you know, the 298, that's like a really crafted shoe. But those kind of Volk shoes, they're just basic, and there's more and more brands just sort of pumping out the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of need, it's like you said, if someone's going to come up with a brand, they need to kind of do something different, and it can't just be the marketing or being like, hey, I'm a pro, you should buy my stuff again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny old situation.
But yeah, the actual brand and the product you create is probably the most important thing now. It used to be where if you needed to create a brand, you just chuck a couple of riders at it and just have them come up with what they want, and then you build a brand and it sells and everything's great, and you get bigger and you start boiling it down to what the brand is. But now it's more important to have a brand that really has meaning and purpose and differentiation from what else is out there. But yeah, it's either way, it's going to sort itself out. The tree is going to get shaken, and some are making it.
It's very shaky in 24, isn't it? This has been the craziest year that I think I've experienced in 25 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the 7 to 10 year cycle of skateboarding is coming up to where I think in 25, I think mid to 25 plus, I think skateboarding is going to start being on the rebound and growing.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely it feels like it's at a bit of a lull at the moment. It seems unfair to say that because, like you're saying, it's so diffused and there's so many people doing different things. There's all the girls who are into skating now that, like you said, like I think
it just seems
1 in 3 people in the States are girls who are skating. That's incredible statistics.
But at the moment, it does seem like skateboarding is a little bit like on the back burner, a little bit slower and stagnant. You know
But
what I mean? Like
that could be like a post-COVID situation that has happened to everything from like motorbikes. It's happened to like being like cycling. That's had a huge glut. Even I heard that like sewing machine companies have like a massive overstock problem at the moment because so many people got into sewing. They're like, sewing's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like it's on the downturn. So is it just that we're perceiving skateboarding being on a lull, but it's actually just all activity is on a lull at the moment because everyone had free money and free time at the same time, and it's just like a complete aberration.
It's just boom and bust cycles, essentially, isn't it? And you're just in a transition period. It doesn't mean that it's on the downtrend necessarily, like Toby thought, but there's ups and downs 24/7.
Yeah,
it's never just like constant growth is unachievable, quite frankly, isn't it?
Yeah. Otherwise, the whole growth thing's pretty crazy, isn't it? Like you got those big corpo brands that just like grow, and you're like, well, at some point you'd have to own everything. Like, how does this work? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there's gonna be more of the big guys maybe pulling out of skateboarding, and then there'll just be a new growth of the new faces of skateboarding have to come through somehow, and then the older pros need to step aside and let the new generation come up. Because people don't want to keep seeing the same stuff over and over. The challenge with being a pro is every video part you've got to progress on what you last did, but there becomes a point where you're like, you've kind of just maxed out on your evolution of what you can do. As much as people love to just see you do what you do.
Okay, what do you think to this then? So at the moment, Nike, obviously, they try to go D2C. They
direct to consumer for anyone listening that doesn't
non-industry geek
that doesn't know what he's on about.
So, and they overcooked it massively, over-inventoried, and they ended up having to sell a lot of stuff off real cheap, really damaged the market. Then they overdid it with the Dunk, and they've really struggled more recently. And in the meantime, all those shops that they dropped, like Foot Locker, ended up with space on their shelves. So those shelves ended up being filled with other brands like On, Running, and Hoka. So out of Nike moving out of that market, it created this huge gap for brand new shoe brands to move into. Like, they didn't exist before, and now they do, and they're big and they're strong. So do you think there's that opportunity in skateboarding right now? Because if you've got Karima not doing any of the marketing, you got Nike kind of on the back foot, surely there's quite a big space for like the original skate brands to really flourish.
Yeah. But I mean, where we are now with the Nideckers, it's when we don't have to worry so much about what others are doing, but it's more about what we're doing to be stronger than what we've previously been, and how we can be stronger than what's out there without having to worry about it. It's just really focusing on ourselves to make ourselves better and stop pointing the fingers at others as an excuse of why things aren't working, but just take responsibility and just go, hey, we're in this position for a reason. Let's change ourselves to like be the new brands going forward, you know, be more relevant. I think so. That whole quality over quantity thing is just like, how do we make sure we're just not adding to the oversaturation of the marketplace and create meaningful products that are demanded. Which, I mean, we have that in a lot of cases. I think like the Musker shoe is a good example. In the US, it's a $150 shoe and it's selling out. And it's like, no one's questioning the price. It's because it's something that people really want. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, especially when Musker's done it himself and he's dipped it in some paint and all sorts of stuff. Like,
yeah, he's selling those for like $333.
Yeah.
And he's selling them out. So there's demand out there. I mean, people want stuff. It's got to be special.
Yeah.
People just don't need another skateboard or another shoe. They want another story and, you know, experience.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap it up.
How might one wrap this up?
And maybe go skating.
You're going to go rap. You start rapping.
You can rap to that camera if you want.
We should get Jeremy Rogers.
I feel... don't say his name 3 times because Jay Casanova will just pop up in the middle of the table.
Really?
Right. Thank you very much for coming all the way from America to come on the show.
Thank you.
A round of applause here.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you for Nick Warman for filling in on that last 20 minutes that Toby let us down. You know what? I'm just going to say, as the credits are rolling right now, fuck Toby.
Oh, poor Toby.
No, I'm joking. I love you, Toby. Oh my God. I've actually shit myself.